Flat Earth theory is a fascinating topic that has a long history and many intriguing aspects. The belief that the Earth is flat, rather than spherical, has been present in various cultures throughout history, shaping the way people understood their world. This theory may seem outdated today, but it offers a glimpse into the evolution of human thought and the quest for knowledge. In ancient civilizations, the Earth was primarily viewed as a flat surface. This perspective was common across many cultures, including the ancient Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and Greeks. For these societies, the idea of a flat Earth was intertwined with their mythology and cosmology. For example, the ancient Egyptians envisioned the sky as a goddess arching over a flat land, while the Mesopotamians depicted the Earth as a flat disk surrounded by a vast ocean. One of the most influential early proponents of the spherical Earth theory was the Greek philosopher Pythagoras, who lived in the 6th century BCE. His idea suggested that the Earth was round, primarily due to observations of the moon and stars. However, even with such philosophical advancements, the notion of a flat Earth persisted for centuries. The ancient Greeks, particularly in the later works of philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, shaped the dialogue surrounding the Earth's shape. Aristotle, in the 4th century BCE, made several observations that supported the idea of a spherical Earth. He noted, for example, the way ships disappear hull first over the horizon, and how the Earth casts a round shadow on the moon during a lunar eclipse. These observations hinted that the Earth was not flat but rather a sphere. Despite these insights, the flat Earth concept remained prevalent among common people for many generations. Throughout history, various cultures have depicted maps and artistic representations that reflect their understanding of the Earth's shape. Medieval maps often illustrated the Earth as a flat disk, with Jerusalem at the center. This representation was not just geographical, but had cultural significance as well. It reflected the worldview of the time, emphasizing sacred cities and the beliefs held by those who created the maps. By the time of the Renaissance, the flat Earth theory was increasingly challenged. With the rise of navigation and exploration, the evidence for a spherical Earth became undeniable, as explorers like Ferdinand Magellan circumnavigated the globe. These journeys provided concrete proof of the Earth's roundness, leading to a gradual shift in public perception. The flat Earth theory never completely disappeared, however. In modern times, a small but vocal community advocates for the idea that the Earth is flat. These individuals often rely on interpretations of visual evidence, believing that perspective tricks can explain why the horizon appears flat. They argue that if the Earth were a spinning sphere, we would observe curvature and experience the effects of gravity differently. Flat Earth proponents also often question established scientific findings and express skepticism about space agencies and their images of Earth. This skepticism sometimes stems from a broader distrust in institutions and science, making the flat Earth theory a topic of both interest and controversy. In popular culture, the flat Earth debate has seen resurgences, particularly within social media platforms. Engaging videos, podcasts, and discussions have sparked significant attention, drawing in curious individuals and providing a platform for believers to share their views. This phenomenon allows for lively debates, challenging long-standing notions, and inspiring many people to explore the history of science and cosmology. What remains clear is the enduring fascination with the Earth, its shape, and how we perceive it. The journey of understanding whether the Earth is flat or spherical is not just a scientific pursuit. It represents our quest for knowledge and the ways we've historically tried to make sense of our surroundings. Understanding the flat Earth theory forces us to consider how beliefs are formed, maintained, and challenged over time. Exploring ancient texts and artifacts can provide insight into societies that embraced the flat Earth concept. It is fascinating to see how each civilization's beliefs about the world shaped their philosophy, culture, and even architecture. For instance, ancient cultures often built structures that reflected their understanding of the universe. The pyramids of Egypt, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, and the temples of the Mayans all exhibit a strong connection to their worldview, which was often influenced by the idea that the Earth was flat. The story of the flat Earth theory offers an engaging exploration of human thought and belief systems. It invites us to reflect on how knowledge evolves and the importance of questioning accepted truths. Our understanding of the Earth's shape has come a long way, guided by observation, curiosity, and exploration. As we continue to uncover the wonders of our world, we should not forget the paths taken to arrive at our current understanding. As we journey through history, we observe how each culture interpreted its environment. The rich tapestry of ideas and beliefs surrounding the Earth's shape serves as a reminder of humanity's thirst for understanding and the importance of seeing the world from various perspectives. In the annals of history, the geocentric model stands out as one of humanity's earliest attempts to understand the cosmos. This ancient belief positioned Earth at the center of the universe, with all celestial bodies, including the sun and stars, revolving around it. The term geocentric itself comes from the Greek words geo, meaning earth, and kentron, meaning center. This intriguing concept held sway for centuries, deeply influencing our understanding of the cosmos, our place within it, and even scientific thought. The origins of the geocentric model can be traced back to ancient civilizations. In ancient Greece, philosophers and astronomers like Ptolemy championed this theory. Ptolemaic System, detailed in his work Almagest, presented a complex framework of celestial spheres and epicycles. According to Ptolemy, the Earth was stationary, and all other celestial bodies moved in perfect circles around it. He believed that the planets moved in small circles called epicycles, as they traveled along larger circular orbits around the Earth. This intricate model aimed to account for the observed motions of the planets and stars, such as their retrograde motion, where they appear to reverse direction temporarily. The geocentric model resonated with the intuitive understanding of the world at the time. Observing the heavens, it seemed logical that the Earth, which is solid and palpable, would be at the center. The sun rose and set around us, and the stars traveled across the sky, reinforcing the belief that we occupied a special, central position in the cosmos. This idea was not just a scientific theory, it permeated philosophy, religion, and daily life. Many cultures saw the Earth as the center of creation, embodying the belief that humanity was the focal point of the universe. However, as scientists and philosophers sought to deepen their understanding of the night sky, inconsistencies began to emerge. The geocentric model struggled to explain certain observations. For instance, the paths of planets such as Mars demonstrated perplexing retrograde motion that didn't fit neatly into a geocentric framework. The more these observations were scrutinized, the more apparent it became that a more accurate model was needed. In the 16th century, a revolutionary shift began to take place. The work of Nicholas Copernicus marked the dawn of a new era in astronomical thought. Copernicus proposed the heliocentric model, which placed the sun at the center of the universe. According to this model, the Earth and other planets orbited the sun, dramatically changing the way we viewed our place in the cosmos. This radical idea challenged the deeply rooted beliefs of the time, and while it faced substantial resistance, it was eventually supported by the observations of later astronomers like Johannes Kepler and Galileo Galilei. Kepler advanced the heliocentric model with his laws of planetary motion, which described the elliptical orbits of planets rather than perfect circles. This was a pivotal moment in science, as it combined observation with mathematical principles, moving humanity closer to a more accurate understanding of our solar system. Galileo's telescopic discoveries, such as the moons of Jupiter and the phases of Venus, provided critical evidence that bolstered the heliocentric view and further called the geocentric model into question. Despite the overwhelming evidence supporting the heliocentric model, the geocentric view was not easily discarded. Deeply rooted cultural and religious beliefs contributed to the resistance faced by early astronomers. The Church, in particular, held on to the geocentric paradigm, as it aligned with certain theological frameworks, leading to conflict with individuals advocating for a heliocentric understanding. Over time, however, the scientific method gained traction. The emphasis on observation, experimentation, and evidence allowed for a more systematic approach to understanding the universe. The geocentric model gradually fell out of favor as a clearer picture emerged, firmly establishing the heliocentric model as the foundation of modern astronomy. Today, the geocentric model serves as a historical illustration of humanity's quest for understanding. It demonstrates how our perceptions of the universe can be shaped by cultural beliefs and the limitations of our knowledge. The evolution from a geocentric to a heliocentric worldview highlights the importance of inquiry and critical thinking in expanding our understanding of the cosmos. Additionally, the transition from the geocentric to the heliocentric model reflects the broader story of scientific progress. Each successive discovery builds upon the last, leading us toward a more comprehensive view of the universe. Today, we know that the sun is just one of countless stars in a vast galaxy, and our galaxy is but a speck in the universe. The journey from the belief that Earth is the center of everything to the recognition of our place within a sprawling cosmic landscape shows how far we have come. In the grand tapestry of history, the geocentric model will always occupy a significant place. It not only initiated the dialogue about our universe, but also laid the groundwork for the scientific revolutions that followed. Understanding this journey encourages us to contemplate our curious nature as human beings and our relentless pursuit of knowledge, reminding us that each question leads to a new horizon of exploration. This quest for understanding continues today, inspiring new generations of scientists to delve ever deeper into the mysteries of the cosmos, perpetually seeking to unravel the intricate dance of celestial bodies that surrounds us. In ancient times, the understanding of the human body and illness was often shaped by the concept of humors. The notion was rooted in the idea that our bodies are made up of four basic fluids: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Each of these humors was believed to correspond with specific temperaments and health conditions, leading to a fascinating and complex view of medicine. To begin, let's explore the four humors in more detail. Blood, often associated with a sanguine temperament, was thought to be linked to qualities such as cheerfulness, sociability, and creativity. A person with an excess of blood was thought to be jovial and lively, whereas a lack of blood could lead to feelings of lethargy or sadness. Physicians in ancient times would consider these personality traits and conditions when diagnosing and treating patients. Next, we have phlegm, which corresponded to a phlegmatic temperament. This humor was associated with calmness and reliability, but could also indicate sluggishness or indecisiveness if out of balance. For instance, an excess of phlegm was thought to cause respiratory issues, as well as a lack of motivation in one's life. Treatments often included diet modifications or herbal remedies aimed at balancing this humor. Moving on, we entered a realm of yellow bile, which was considered to represent a choleric temperament. Those with a predominance of yellow bile were seen as energetic, ambitious, and passionate. However, too much yellow bile could lead to irritability, anger, and even digestive troubles. Ancient healers would often utilize methods to cool down or soothe excessive qualities related to this humor, encouraging a more balanced emotional and physical state. Lastly, there's black bile, which is often associated with a melancholic temperament. People with an abundance of black bile were thought to be introspective and thoughtful, but possibly prone to sadness or anxiety. An excess of black bile could manifest in conditions that affected the digestive system and overall mood. In ancient medical practices, treatments might involve dietary changes or activities aimed at uplifting the spirit to restore balance. These four humors not only influence medical practices, but also shape societal beliefs about personality and behavior. Physicians would often conduct assessments based on physical signs, emotional conditions, and the environment to determine which humor was imbalanced. This approach to healing was holistic, considering the body's makeup, along with emotional and psychological aspects. Furthermore, the Greeks, particularly Hippocrates and Galen, were significant contributors to the development of humor theory. Hippocrates, often regarded as the father of medicine, emphasized the idea that an imbalance in humors led to disease. His writings laid the foundations for understanding the importance of observing patients and their symptoms. Galen expanded on these ideas, developing an extensive system of diagnoses and treatment based on humor balance. Throughout history, the concept of humors persisted even into the Middle Ages and the Renaissance, influencing various medical practices in Europe. Treatments included bloodletting, where excess blood was removed to restore balance, and a focus on diet tailored to each patient's needs. Herbal remedies were also popular, as certain herbs were believed to help eliminate excess humors or boost deficient ones. As science progressed, the understanding of bodily functions advanced beyond humors. However, the historical significance of this model opened pathways for more systemic approaches to health. The concepts of balance and moderation are themes that still resonate in modern medicine, especially in areas like nutrition and holistic health. Despite the limitations of the humor theory, such as its lack of grounding in empirical evidence, it provides a fascinating glimpse into how our ancestors viewed health and disease. It illustrates how human beings have long sought to understand the complexities of the body and its many functions. The belief in humors highlights the connection between bodily states and emotional experiences. Even today, many people recognize how physical health can influence mental well-being, and vice versa. For example, stress can lead to physical symptoms like tension headaches or digestive issues, mirroring the ancient understanding of how emotional states can affect physical health. In summary, the belief in humors represents a significant chapter in the story of medicine. The intricacies of humor theory reflect humanity's ongoing quest to comprehend the relationship between body, mind, and environment. While modern medicine has evolved substantially since those ancient times, understanding the historical context provides deeper insights into current practices and the enduring importance of balance in our lives. The echoes of these ancient beliefs can still be found today, reminding us of the intricacies of our human experience and the ways we seek harmony in our bodies and minds. This exploration of humors offers a window into the past, revealing how the early understanding of health laid the groundwork for the diverse medical practices that continue to develop in our modern world. Phlogiston theory was an early and fascinating concept in the history of chemistry that originated in the late 17th century. This idea was developed primarily by scientists such as Joachim Becher, and later expanded by Georg Ernst Stahl. Imagine, if you will, a world where scientific understanding was still in its infancy, and the nature of fire and combustion was cloaked in mystery. Phlogiston theory arose as a creative attempt to explain the process of burning, an everyday phenomenon that seemed to defy clear understanding. According to the theory, all combustible materials contained a special substance called phlogiston. This substance was thought to be a fire-like element that was released when materials burned. In essence, when a material such as wood or coal ignited, it was believed that it was liberating its phlogiston into the air. The more rapidly a substance burned, the more phlogiston it contained. This notion was not just a simple idea, it was an attempt to put fire, a vital and sometimes dangerous aspect of life, into a scientific framework. To illustrate this concept, one could consider the example of burning wood. When wood is set on fire, it produces both heat and light. According to phlogiston theory, during this process, the wood is losing its phlogiston, transforming from a solid state to ash. The ash left behind is seen as the residue after the phlogiston has escaped into the surrounding atmosphere. Consequently, a substance that was once in a combustible state is now no longer able to burn, as it has lost all its phlogiston. Phlogiston also had interesting implications for understanding other chemical reactions. For instance, when metals were burned, it was theorized that they would also release phlogiston. However, when metals like zinc or lead were heated, they produced metal oxides, which indicated that something remained behind after burning. This contradiction was puzzling to scientists of that time, as it didn't fully fit the phlogiston narrative. Instead of providing clarity, it began to raise more questions. One of the most striking elements of phlogiston theory was its progression and eventual decline. In the late 18th century, the scientific community was on the verge of new discoveries. The works of Antoine Lavoisier, often celebrated as the father of modern chemistry, brought a groundbreaking change to this understanding. Lavoisier conducted experiments which demonstrated that combustion requires oxygen, a gas that was previously unidentified and misunderstood. He also showed that substances gain rather than lose weight when burned, contradicting the ideas that phlogiston was being released. This new understanding led to significant advancements in chemical science, paving the way for the modern field of chemistry as we know it today. The idea of phlogiston was officially abandoned, but it marked an essential step in the journey toward a more accurate comprehension of the elements and reactions at play in our world. Despite its eventual obsolescence, the exploration of phlogiston theory reflects the human spirit of inquiry, representing a time when the pursuit of knowledge led to significant errors and breakthroughs alike. The transition from phlogiston to oxygen is not just a story of scientific correction. It is a vivid example of how the pursuit of understanding evolves. In hindsight, phlogiston theory may seem quaint, almost humorous in its simplicity, yet it served its purpose in advancing scientific thought. It provides a glimpse into the scientific process, how ideas are tested, revised, and ultimately refined through experimentation and observation. Furthermore, the landscape of science is filled with similar theories that have been set aside as knowledge has advanced. Each of these has contributed to building a framework of understanding the natural world. As new discoveries emerge, they often collide with established ideas, forcing us to reconsider and refine our understanding. Phlogiston theory is a reminder that science is not simply about accumulating facts. It's an ever-evolving narrative shaped by our curiosity and willingness to question the world around us. It illustrates the fact that what we accept as truth today may very well be challenged or replaced by tomorrow's discoveries. The legacy of phlogiston lives on as a testament to this dynamic process of scientific exploration and the enduring quest for knowledge that inspires us. So as we reflect on the journey from Phlogiston Theory to modern chemistry, we celebrate the spirit of inquiry that allowed our ancestors to explore the very fabric of reality, ask profound questions, and remain open to discovering new truths about the world. In this way, Phlogiston Theory, while ultimately a mistaken concept, played a vital role in the grand tapestry of scientific understanding. Throughout history, the origins of life have fascinated humankind, leading to a variety of beliefs and theories. One such belief, known as spontaneous generation, suggested that life could arise from non-living matter. This idea was widely accepted for centuries, influencing numerous scientific and philosophical discussions about the nature of life itself. The concept dates back to ancient civilizations, with the Greeks, including Aristotle, proposing that certain forms of life could appear from inanimate objects, such as mud or decaying materials. Imagine a scenario in which flies emerge from rotting meat or maggots appear on spoiled food, leading people to think that these organisms resulted from the decay process itself, rather than from eggs or larvae. During the Middle Ages, this belief persisted, with various prominent thinkers endorsing the idea. It seemed plausible that life could simply materialize under the right conditions, especially in the absence of knowledge about reproduction and microbiology. This philosophical viewpoint bridged the gap between science and belief, as various cultures attempted to explain the world around them without the modern understanding of biology. In the 17th century, the advent of the microscope opened up new possibilities for scientific inquiry. Pioneers like Antony van Leeuwenhoek began to observe the microscopic world, unveiling a variety of single-celled organisms. These discoveries sparked a wave of curiosity and debate regarding the origins of life. While the microscope offered new insights, the idea of spontaneous generation still held considerable influence. Many scientists continued to believe in the spontaneous origin of life, even as evidence began to emerge. The turning point came in the 19th century, when a series of experiments began to challenge the validity of spontaneous generation. One of the most notable figures was Louis Pasteur, a French biologist renowned for his groundbreaking work in microbiology. Pasteur conducted a critical experiment in 1861, using swan-necked flasks to demonstrate that microorganisms did not spontaneously arise in sterilized broth. By boiling the broth to eliminate existing microorganisms and sealing it in flasks, he showed that, when exposed to air, the broth remained free of microbial life until the neck was broken, allowing airborne particles to enter. This demonstrated that life originates from existing life, rather than emerging suddenly from non-living matter. Moreover, the experiments of Francesco Redi, an Italian physician who preceded Pasteur, also laid the groundwork for debunking spontaneous generation. In the 1660s, Redi conducted an experiment that involved placing meat in different jars. Some jars were left open, while others were sealed or covered with gauze. Over time, he observed that maggots appeared only in the open jars, where flies could access the meat to lay their eggs. This was a crucial observation that pushed back against the long-held belief in spontaneous generation. Further advancements in the understanding of cell theory provided more significant evidence against spontaneous generation. Scientists discovered that all living organisms are composed of cells, and that cells arise from pre-existing cells through reproduction. This fundamental principle revolutionized biological science, confirming that life is a continuous process, cultivating the notion that all living beings share common ancestry. The intellectual journey to debunk spontaneous generation illustrates the evolution of scientific thought from philosophical speculation to a more rigorous methodology grounded in experimentation and observation. As knowledge expanded, the scientific community began to realize that the origin of life must be explained through mechanisms that are consistent with the principles of biology and chemistry. Today, the study of life's beginnings continues to unfold, now focusing on questions surrounding abiogenesis, the hypothesis that life arises naturally from non-living matter under specific environmental conditions, but through complex chemical reactions rather than spontaneous generation. The fall of spontaneous generation exemplifies how scientific inquiry can challenge and overturn established ideas. It reminds us that understanding the universe requires not simply observation but critical thinking, experimentation, and a willingness to question the status quo. While the intricate origins of life remain a topic of ongoing research, we now know that life emerges through processes that are far more complex and fascinating than formerly believed. Through the legacy of pioneers like Pasteur and Redi, we can appreciate how scientific advancements reveal the mysteries of the natural world, enhancing our understanding of life's incredible diversity and complexity. This journey from speculation to understanding is a testament to human curiosity, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge that shapes our world today. Miasma theory is a fascinating historical concept that dominated medical understanding for centuries. During the 19th century, it was widely believed that diseases were caused by miasmas, or, quote, bad air, that arose from rotting organic matter, swamps, and polluted environments. This idea was deeply rooted in the cultural and scientific context of the time, and it shaped the way people understood health and illness. Imagine living in an era when the air you breathe could be considered a corrupting force, teeming with invisible vapors. Miasma theorists held that these noxious particles floated through the atmosphere, able to affect health just by inhaling them. The theory gained traction because it seemed to provide a simple explanation for the causes of various diseases. For instance, during an outbreak of cholera or the plague, the foul odors emanating from garbage, decay, or stagnant water were often blamed for the surge in illnesses. People worried that if they ventured too close to these unpleasant smells, they could become ill. The belief in miasma led to various public health measures aimed at improving the quality of air. Cities invested in sanitation, attempting to clean up refuse and reduce odors in living environments. Open sewers were covered, and waste management systems were developed. Even the practice of venting and airing out households was taken to an extreme, as families believed fresh, clean air would protect them from these harmful vapors. Moreover, the idea that miasmas caused diseases was not just a medical theory. It influenced social behavior. Certain neighborhoods became stigmatized as being particularly unhealthy or dangerous, based largely on the smell of the area and its hygiene. For example, urban areas that were densely populated and rife with poverty often had a reputation for being breeding grounds for disease. As a result, wealthier individuals often moved to more spacious and fresher environments where the air quality was perceived to be better. However, as time went on, the scientific community began to question the validity of miasma theory. Important figures such as Louis Pasteur and Robert Koch began to investigate the microscopic world and eventually develop germ theory. Germ theory proposed that specific microorganisms, rather than bad air, were the true culprits behind many diseases. This shift in understanding ushered in a new era of medicine, transforming the way diseases were treated and preventing methods were developed. By employing rigorous scientific experiments and demonstrating the existence of bacteria and viruses, these early microbiologists challenged the long-held beliefs about the air. For instance, Pasteur conducted experiments that triumphed over miasma theory, showing how certain microbes could spoil food and cause diseases. Similarly, Koch established his postulates that provided evidence linking specific pathogens to particular diseases, further solidifying germ theory's credibility. The decline of miasma theory paved the way for substantial advancements in public health. As the focus shifted towards germ theory, sanitation practices evolved. Antiseptics, vaccinations, and antibiotics were developed, changing how infections were treated and drastically improving recovery rates. The findings also led to enhanced hygiene practices, which helped protect populations from illness. Despite being disregarded today, miasma theory reflects an important chapter in understanding disease and healthcare. It illustrates how ideas evolve over time, adapting to new discoveries and technologies. While miasma may have been an outdated concept, it laid the groundwork for modern medical practices. It highlights the significance of observation in science and the evolution of knowledge based on evidence. Moreover, the lingering remnants of miasma theory can still be seen in some cultural practices and beliefs related to cleanliness and health, demonstrating how historical perspectives can continue to influence contemporary society. Public health campaigns, for example, often emphasize the importance of clean living environments, which echoes the miasma theory's sentiments about fresh air and sanitation. As we continue to advance in our understanding of health and disease, it's important to appreciate how far we have come from these early theories. They remind us that our knowledge is always expanding, and what we believe today may someday be reevaluated as science progresses. The shift from miasma theory to germ theory represents a monumental leap in medical science, ultimately saving countless lives by enabling a better grasp of disease prevention and treatment. In summary, miasma theory served as a critical stepping stone in the history of medicine. While it may have been an incorrect explanation for the cause of diseases, it initiated a dialogue about health and cleanliness that spurred advancements in public health and scientific inquiry. The journey from miasma to germ theory showcases the importance of questioning long-held beliefs and the value of scientific exploration in improving human well-being. As we reflect on these ideas, we can appreciate the continuous quest for understanding that drives medicine and health forward into new realms. Alchemy is a fascinating subject that has intrigued people for centuries. It encompasses a blend of philosophy, mysticism, and early chemistry, appealing to both the scientific community and those drawn to the mystical aspects of life. Alchemy originated in ancient Egypt and was later influenced by Greek and Roman teachings, evolving through the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. At its core, alchemy involves the transformation of materials. The most well-known goal of alchemy is the quest to turn base metals, such as lead, into precious ones like gold. This aspiration represents not just a literal desire for wealth, but also a deeper metaphorical journey toward personal and spiritual transformation. The process of transformation in alchemy is often seen as a reflection of human change and growth. The alchemist's laboratory is a place of experimentation and discovery. Alchemists employed a wide range of tools and processes, such as distillation, calcination, and fermentation. These methods were not merely practical, but symbolized a deeper understanding of nature and the universe. Alchemists believed that by understanding the fundamental properties of materials, they could harness natural forces for their purposes. One of the central symbols in alchemy is the Philosopher's Stone. This legendary substance was said to have the power to turn base metals into gold and grant immortality. The search for the Philosopher's Stone is often interpreted as a quest for enlightenment, wisdom, and the ultimate truth of the universe. Alchemists believed that by finding this stone, they could unlock the secrets of existence. Many notable figures throughout history have been associated with alchemy. For instance, the famous Greek philosopher Aristotle wrote about the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire, which later became pivotal in alchemical thought. In addition, figures like Hermes Trismegistus are often referenced in alchemical texts. Hermes was considered the messenger of the gods and represented the unity of all knowledge, making him a key figure in the alchemical tradition. Alchemy also delved into the concept of the great work, or magnum opus. This term refers to the ultimate goal of the alchemist, which is the creation of the Philosopher's Stone and the perfection of matter. Achieving the great work involved multiple stages of transformation, known as calcination, dissolution, separation, conjunction, fermentation, and coagulation. Each of these stages represents a step in a greater journey toward achieving great understanding and mastery over the natural world. The influence of alchemy extended beyond mere experiments with substances. It also played a significant role in the development of modern chemistry. Alchemists laid the groundwork for the scientific method, paving the way for future generations to explore the elements and compounds that make up our world. Although modern science has moved past many of the mystical elements of alchemy, the essence of exploration and transformation remains a core part of scientific inquiry. Alongside its scientific pursuits, alchemy offered a rich tapestry of symbolism and metaphor. Many alchemical texts are filled with vivid imagery, such as dragons, birds, and celestial phenomena. These symbols often represent the processes and transformations happening within both the materials being worked on and the alchemists themselves. The dragon, for example, can symbolize the chaos and raw material that must be tamed and transformed into something precious. The world of alchemy is not just about physical transformation. It also encompasses psychological and spiritual dimensions. Carl Jung, a prominent psychologist, viewed alchemy as an important metaphor for personal development. He interpreted the alchemical process as akin to the process of individuation, where one integrates different parts of the self to achieve wholeness. This connection between alchemy and psychology illustrates how ancient beliefs can resonate with contemporary experiences and struggles. As we explore the historical and philosophical landscapes of alchemy, we uncover a rich narrative that weaves through cultures and eras. From ancient Egypt to the Enlightenment, alchemy served as a bridge between the mystical and the rational. It inspired countless scholars, scientists, and philosophers to explore not only the physical world, but also the nature of existence itself. In today's world, echoes of alchemical principles can still be seen in various practices, whether in the realm of chemistry, psychology, or personal growth. The quest for transformation continues to be a fundamental aspect of the human experience. The pursuit of knowledge, understanding, and mastery, core themes of alchemy, find their way into modern endeavors, pushing us to explore new frontiers. As we reflect on the legacy of alchemy, we recognize its profound influence on science, spirituality, and the arts. The lessons from this ancient tradition remind us of our capabilities for transformation, both within ourselves and in the world around us. Through the lens of alchemy, we can appreciate the beauty of change and the possibilities that lie in every quest for understanding and improvement. Bloodletting, an ancient medical practice, has a long and curious history that reflects the evolution of medical understanding. This treatment, which involves the withdrawal of blood from a patient's body, was based on a concept known as humorism, a theory that dominated medical thinking for centuries. Humorism posited that the human body was governed by 4 essential bodily fluids, or, quote, humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. According to this belief, a balance among these humors was crucial for maintaining health and well-being. Physicians during antiquity and the Middle Ages thought that an excess of blood, for instance, could lead to various ailments. Therefore, bloodletting became a go-to method for resolving numerous medical issues, from fever to inflammation and even mental illnesses. This practice was not only popular, it was often seen as an art form and a ritual among practitioners of medicine. One can imagine a bustling medieval marketplace where a doctor with a long cloak and a distinguished beard would be viewed as a leading authority. He would recommend bloodletting as a remedy, explaining how the patient's humors were out of balance. Picture a patient reclining on a wooden bench, adorned with a layer of wool for comfort, while the physician prepared to draw blood. To make this practice more appealing, practitioners would often engage in storytelling, taking the opportunity to regale their audience with tales of how bloodletting had worked wonders for various townsfolk. Consider the humor of the situation. An entire town could be brought together to witness a bloodletting, as it was often performed in public. Friends and family would gather, some curious, some skeptical, and others perhaps just peeking through the crowd to see what was happening. In this communal experience, the spectacle of leeches being applied to skin or the sight of blood flowing into a bowl created an atmosphere that veered between the solemn and the absurd. People could witness firsthand the dramatic battle against illness, often portrayed as a heroic adventure. However, the efficacy of bloodletting was often taken more on faith than on fact. A sick individual could have a long list of ailments, but rather than investigating the root cause, the doctor might suggest bloodletting as a one-size-fits-all solution. Imagine this. A patient suffering from a headache would be treated with bloodletting, as would a child with a rash. In both cases, the fundamental understanding of the conditions was lacking, and the treatment was largely a gamble, hoping the balance of humors would magically restore health. As time progressed, the medical community began to question the validity of humorism. Scientific discoveries began to paint a more accurate picture of human anatomy and physiology, leading to a gradual decline in the practice of bloodletting. In the 19th century, notable physicians like Pierre Charles Alexandre Louis conducted studies that showed no substantial benefits of bloodletting. They observed that patients often felt worse after treatment rather than better, challenging the long-held belief in its effectiveness. Yet, the historical implications of bloodletting span fiction, myth, and cultural practices. It was not merely a medical treatment. It became interwoven with societal beliefs about health and illness. The idea that a physician had the authority to draw blood from a patient hinted at a broader understanding, or misunderstanding, of power dynamics in healthcare. People would willingly submit to this treatment, trusting in the expertise of those in white coats, or whatever garb the physicians of the time donned, believing they would be better served by a healer's skill. Interestingly, the legacy of bloodletting resonates in modern practices. Though not common, phlebotomy, the practice of drawing blood for testing, remains an essential procedure in medical settings. However, unlike its predecessor, this modern approach is based on scientific evidence and targeted towards specific medical needs rather than the vague concept of humor balance. Furthermore, contemporary literature and media occasionally romanticize bloodletting in fictional narratives, depicting it as a mysterious, archaic art still practiced by eccentric characters, or in far-off lands where ancient wisdom prevails. The allure of its historical roots keeps these stories alive, bringing a sense of nostalgia or intrigue to audiences fascinated by bygone eras. In conclusion, the history of bloodletting serves as a fascinating glimpse into the evolution of medical thought. What started as a widely accepted treatment based on humor theory ultimately fell out of favor as knowledge advanced. However, the cultural echoes of this practice remain present in our understanding of healthcare today. It stands as a reminder of how far we have come in our quest for healing, while illustrating how the journey of medicine is often paved with both trial and error and a touch of humor woven into the fabric of its past. The Ptolemaic System is a fascinating ancient astronomical model that has shaped our understanding of the cosmos for centuries. Developed by the Greek astronomer Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century, this model presents a view of the universe with Earth firmly positioned at the center. Ptolemy's work, particularly his seminal text the Almagest, became one of the most influential astronomical treatises in history. At the core of the Ptolemaic system lies a geocentric perspective. This means that all celestial bodies, including the sun, the moon, and the stars, were believed to orbit around the Earth. Ptolemy's model depicted the universe with a series of concentric spheres, each representing a celestial body. Earth was stationary at the center, and the planets, including Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, revolved around it in circular orbits. The moon and the sun were placed in their respective spheres closer to the Earth. One of the key elements of Ptolemy's model was the use of epicycles. To explain the apparent retrograde motion of planets, the phenomenon when a planet appears to move backward in its orbit, Ptolemy proposed that planets moved in small circles called epicycles. As these epicycles revolved around the larger circular paths of the planets, it offered a way to account for their observed movements in the sky. For example, when Mars seems to slow down and change direction, it is seen in the context of this complex system of circles, where its motion is governed by the interplay of these epicycles and the larger planetary orbits. The Ptolemaic system worked remarkably well for a long time. The predictions made by Ptolemy were able to account for many celestial observations accurately. People of the time accepted this model because it was consistent with their everyday experience. After all, we do see the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. The Ptolemaic system was deeply integrated into the philosophical and theological views of the world during the Middle Ages, aligning well with the prevailing thought that humanity held a central and special place in the universe. However, as centuries passed, scientists and thinkers began to question the geocentric model. One of the most significant challengers to Ptolemy was the Renaissance mathematician and astronomer Nicolaus Copernicus. In the early 16th century, he proposed a radically different perspective known as heliocentrism, shifting the center of the universe from the Earth to the Sun. This groundbreaking idea suggested that the Earth and other planets orbited around the Sun, fundamentally altering the course of astronomical thought. Many features of the Ptolemaic system began to lose credibility as more precise observations were made. The invention of the telescope by Galileo Galilei in the early 17th century provided powerful evidence that challenged the geocentric perspective. Galileo's observations of the moons of Jupiter, the phases of Venus, and the intricate details of lunar landscapes offered compelling evidence for the heliocentric model. As these observations gained traction, they exerted unparalleled influence on the scientific community, propelling the shift toward a more accurate understanding of our solar system. The Copernican system provided a far simpler model for the movements of celestial bodies. Under heliocentrism, the retrograde motion of planets could be easily explained by the relative positions of the Earth and the other planets in their orbits. The Sun, as a central hub, provided a more coherent and straightforward understanding of how planets interacted with each other. Despite the overwhelming evidence supporting the heliocentric model, the transition from the Ptolemaic system was not without its controversies. The geocentric view was deeply rooted in the cultural and religious beliefs of the time, which emphasized humanity's significance in the grand scheme of existence. As a result, many were resistant to embrace the new ideas, leading to conflicts between science and established traditions. Over time, the heliocentric model gained acceptance, and the Ptolemaic system eventually fell into disrepute. It is important to recognize, however, that the contributions of Ptolemy were not in vain. His work laid the foundation for future astronomical endeavors, influencing scholars and scientists for generations. The tools of mathematics and reasoning he employed led to advancements that propelled the field of astronomy forward. In conclusion, the Ptolemaic system represents a monumental chapter in the history of astronomy. It showcases humanity's early attempts to understand the cosmos and our place within it. As we journey through the stars today, we must remember the significance of this ancient model, in which Earth reigned supreme at the center of the universe. The transition to the heliocentric view marked a turning point in human thought, ultimately leading us to a more profound understanding of our celestial surroundings. The story of the Ptolemaic system reminds us of the importance of questioning, exploring, and evolving in our quest for knowledge, inviting us into the ever-expanding universe that awaits our curiosity. In ancient philosophy, a fascinating concept emerged known as the Four Elements Theory. This idea posited that the universe is composed of four fundamental elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Each element was seen as a building block of existence, combining in various ways to form everything around us. This belief was central to the thinking of many ancient cultures, including the Greeks, who held these elements in high regard as they sought to understand the nature of the world. Let's start with the element of earth. Earth represents stability and permanence. It embodies the physical world, the ground beneath our feet, the trees that tower above us, and the mountains that reach for the sky. Symbolically, earth is associated with strength, growth, and nourishment. It is the source of all life, providing us with the resources we need to survive. Imagine the rich soil in a garden, full of potential and waiting to nurture seeds into beautiful flowers or bountiful crops. This element also suggests a sense of grounding and connection to nature. When we walk barefoot on grass or sink our hands into warm dirt, we feel that bond with the earth, reminding us of our roots. Next, we have water, an element that embodies change and adaptability. Water is fluid, flowing into various shapes and forms. It can be gentle, like a calm river, or powerful, like a raging storm. Think of a serene lake reflecting the sky's colors at sunset, or the soothing sound of rain tapping against your window. Water is essential for life. It hydrates us, shapes landscapes, and creates ecosystems. Furthermore, it represents emotions and intuition. Just as water can be tranquil or tumultuous, our emotions can ebb and flow, shaping our experiences and interactions. Then we come to air, a vital element that gives us breath and sustains life. Air is invisible yet omnipresent. It fills our lungs, allowing us to communicate through speech and song. The gentle breeze that rustles leaves in a forest, or the powerful winds that can shift the course of a ship at sea, remind us of air's dynamic nature. Air is often associated with intellect and clarity of thought. Imagine standing atop a mountain, breathing in the crisp, fresh air, and feeling invigorated and inspired by the vastness of the horizon. It's a reminder of the possibilities that lie beyond our immediate surroundings. Lastly, we have fire, an element that symbolizes energy, transformation, and passion. Fire has been both a vital resource and a force of destruction throughout history. It provides warmth and light, allowing communities to gather and share stories around the flames. The flickering light of a fire can be mesmerizing, drawing us in as we watch the dancing flames. Fire also represents creativity and inspiration. Just as a spark can ignite a flame, our ideas and passions can fuel our pursuits and ambitions. The warmth of fire can offer comfort but also caution, reminding us of the duality that exists within this element. When we look at the Four Elements Theory, we see how these elements interact with each other and form a complete picture of existence. Earth provides the foundation for life, water brings the vitality needed to sustain it, air offers the breath of life, and fire adds energy and transformation. Together, they illustrate the interconnectedness of all things. In nature, we often observe their interplay. Think about a beautiful waterfall, where earth forms the rocks, water tumbles gracefully, air rises in mist, and sunlight fuels the warmth of the scene. Each element contributes to a harmonious experience. These four elements are not just ancient beliefs. They continue to influence modern thought and practices. In various forms of art, literature, and philosophy, the essence of earth, water, air, and fire inspires creativity and expression. Think about a painting that captures a serene landscape. The solidity of the mountains, earth, the flowing river, water, the vibrant sky, air, and the sunlight, fire. Each stroke might invoke a sense of peace or evoke deep emotions, highlighting the timeless relevance of these elements. Moreover, the Four Elements Theory encourages us to reflect on our connection to nature and the world around us. In a fast-paced modern society, we can often feel disconnected from the fundamental qualities of existence. Taking a moment to appreciate the earth beneath us, the water flowing around us, the air filling our lungs, and the warmth of fire can help us regain that sense of grounding and awareness. It invites us to step outside and observe, watch as the winds dance through the trees, listen to water flowing over stones, feel the sun's warmth on our skin, and appreciate the solidity of the earth we walk upon. Ultimately, the Four Elements theory offers a rich tapestry of understanding the world. By examining earth, water, air, and fire, we gain insight into not only the physical realm, but also our emotional and intellectual landscapes. It's a beautiful reminder that we are a part of something larger, and that our experiences are woven from the threads of these four fundamental elements. Each day, we can find moments to connect with nature, reflect on our experiences, and appreciate the complexity and simplicity of life that flows from these ancient ideas. Embracing the four elements can lead to a greater awareness of our place in the universe and our relationship with the natural world that surrounds us. The creation of a homunculus is a fascinating concept that has captured the imagination of alchemists, scientists, and writers for centuries. The term homunculus comes from Latin, meaning little man, and it refers to the idea of creating a tiny, fully formed human being through various means, often attributed to alchemical processes. The notion of creating life in miniature can be traced back to the early days of alchemy, a practice that combined elements of science, philosophy, and mysticism. Alchemists sought to unlock the secrets of the universe and believed they could manipulate fundamental elements to create not only gold from base metals but also life itself. This blending of aspiration and experimentation led to the intriguing idea of the homunculus. The process of creating a homunculus was thought to involve several complex procedures. Some believed it could be achieved by placing sperm in a sealed container, allowing it to germinate over a designated period. This idea stemmed from then popular theories of reproduction, where it was thought that sperm contained a miniature version of the adult human. As time went on, various alchemical texts further elaborated on this idea, suggesting that the homunculus could be nurtured and developed through specific rituals, treatments, and the right environmental conditions. One of the most famous references to the homunculus comes from the alchemical writings of Paracelsus, a Swiss physician and natural philosopher of the Renaissance period. Paracelsus proposed that a homunculus could be created in a flask by mixing human sperm with substances like horse manure and a specific type of soil, allowing it to develop over time. He viewed the homunculus as not just a scientific curiosity, but as a creature with its own soul, which would be animated by alchemical processes. This belief was more than just a scientific inquiry. It reflected the philosophical and ethical questions of the era. Could humans replicate the act of creation that was typically reserved for a divine entity? What does it mean to play God? These queries resonated deeply during the Age of Enlightenment, when emerging scientific thought clashed with traditional beliefs, leading to debates that continue even today. Literature also embraced the idea of the homunculus, weaving it into stories that sparked wonder and fear. For instance, the concept surfaces in the writings of Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, among others, where it serves as a symbol for the pursuit of knowledge and the potential hubris in attempting to control life. In modern science fiction, the homunculus theme reappears, often exploring the ethical implications of creating life. Despite its historical significance, the creation of a homunculus was eventually dismissed by mainstream science, especially as the understanding of human biology advanced. The discovery of genetics illuminated the complexities of life creation, emphasizing the need for more than just alchemical mixtures and mystical incantations. Today, the idea of creating life continues to intrigue scientists, philosophers, and ethicists, especially with advancements in genetic engineering and synthetic biology. The notion of crafting a homunculus can be seen as a reflection of humanity's timeless quest for knowledge and understanding of the forces that govern life. It raises questions about the boundaries of science and the ethical responsibilities that accompany innovation. As we stand on the precipice of new technological frontiers, the age-old pursuit of understanding life echoes in our contemporary debates about artificial intelligence, cloning, and the manipulation of genetic material. Furthermore, the homunculus serves as a metaphor for humanity's own desires and imperfections. It challenges us to confront the implications of our actions and reminds us that the creation of life is an intricate dance of biology, environment, and perhaps fate. The allure of the homunculus endures, demonstrating that the quest for understanding our own origins and the essence of life remains as relevant today as ever before. So as we navigate through the complexities of modern science and the ethical dilemmas it poses, the tale of the homunculus reminds us of our history, our aspirations, and the eternal quest to comprehend what it truly means to create and to exist. The pursuit of this mythical little person reveals a deep-seated curiosity about our own existence and the mystery of life itself, a theme that resonates throughout human history and continues to inspire wonder and imagination. In this way, the legacy of the homunculus lives on, a testament to our enduring fascination with creation. Crystal healing is an intriguing practice that has captured the imaginations of many throughout history. This ancient method revolves around the idea that certain crystals possess unique vibrational energies that can influence our physical, emotional, and spiritual states. Each crystal is believed to hold specific properties, which can be harnessed to bring about healing and balance in the body and mind. Imagine walking into a serene room filled with colorful crystals, each radiating its own energy. The vibrant hues of amethyst, the deep greens of emerald, and the brilliant blues of lapis lazuli create a visual feast. Each crystal is more than just a pretty stone. They are thought to resonate with various frequencies that can either ground us or uplift our spirits. Historically, civilizations around the globe have revered crystals. For example, in ancient Egypt, people adorned themselves with turquoise and carnelian, believing these stones could protect them from harm. The Egyptians were not alone. The Greeks used crystals for purposes ranging from protection in battle to enhancing the clarity of thought. In traditional Chinese medicine, jade was revered as a symbol of purity and serenity, often used in various healing rituals. But how do these crystals work? It is believed that the specific arrangements of atoms within these stones create a distinct vibration. This vibration interacts with the energy fields of the human body, known as chakras. Chakras are thought to be centers of spiritual energy, and when they are aligned and balanced, we experience a sense of well-being. Crystals can be placed on or near these energy centers to help facilitate this balance. For example, rose quartz is frequently associated with the heart chakra, promoting love and compassion, while citrine is believed to bring joy and abundance, resonating with the solar plexus chakra. The methods of using crystals in healing can vary widely. Some people create crystal grids, intricate arrangements designed to amplify the energies of the crystals. Others might carry small stones in their pockets or wear them as jewelry, hoping to keep the healing energies close at hand. You may have seen someone meditating with crystals placed around them, aiming to create a sacred space infused with positive energy. Another fascinating aspect of crystal healing is the belief in the power of intention. Practitioners often suggest that the effectiveness of a crystal can be enhanced by focusing your thoughts and intentions. For instance, holding a clear quartz crystal while visualizing your desired outcome is said to heighten the stone's potential to amplify your intentions. This can be anything from increasing confidence for an upcoming presentation to finding peace in challenging moments. Crystals are also utilized in various holistic healing rituals. Reiki practitioners may incorporate them into their sessions, placing stones on the body to assist in the flow of energy. Aromatherapy and crystal healing are sometimes combined, enhancing the sensory experience through the use of scents alongside the vibrational energies of the crystals. One cannot overlook the aesthetic appeal of crystals as well. Many homes are adorned with these stunning natural creations, serving as beautiful decorations while also inviting positive energy into the space. From large geodes that add a dramatic touch to small, tumbled stones that fit in the palm of your hand, each crystal has its unique charm and energy. It's essential to remember that while many people find joy and solace in crystal healing, it is often seen as a complementary approach rather than a substitute for conventional medical treatment. For those experiencing physical or emotional challenges, consulting a healthcare professional is always advisable. However, incorporating crystals into a wellness routine can be an enriching experience, offering a new layer of self-care and mindfulness. In recent years, the appeal of crystal healing has surged as more people seek holistic approaches to well-being. There is a growing interest in understanding not just the metaphysical beliefs surrounding crystals, but their historical significance and the science of crystal structures as well. Geology enthusiasts may marvel at how crystals are formed over millions of years. The unique properties of minerals, their formations, and even their roles in technological advancements fascinate both scientists and spiritual practitioners alike. As you delve deeper into the world of crystals, you might come across terms like cleansing and charging. Cleansing refers to the process of removing any negative energies that may have accumulated in a crystal. This can be done through various methods, such as running water, moonlight, or smudging sage over the stone. Charging, on the other hand, involves amplifying the crystal's energy, often by placing it under the sun or moonlight, allowing it to absorb the surrounding energy. You might also find the experience of visiting a crystal shop to be a delightful journey. Stepping into a store brimming with different types of crystals can feel like entering a treasure trove of natural wonders. The tactile experience of holding various stones and sensing their unique textures and weights can add an intimate layer to your selection process. Many enthusiasts believe in following their intuition when choosing crystals, often feeling drawn to specific stones that resonate with them personally. In conclusion, crystal healing is a captivating practice with deep historical roots and a modern resurgence in interest. Whether you are drawn to the beauty of crystals, intrigued by their potential healing properties, or simply looking for a new way to enhance your wellness journey, there is something magical about engaging with these natural wonders. Embracing the belief in the powers of crystals invites a sense of exploration and connection to the Earth's energies, reminding us of the beauty of our surroundings and the possibilities they hold. Throughout history, the concept of witchcraft has often been intertwined with fear, superstition, and a misunderstanding of the natural world. This mix of elements has led to one of the darkest chapters in human history, the witch hunts and trials that swept across various societies, particularly in Europe and colonial America during the late medieval and early modern periods. At the heart of the witchcraft phenomenon is a fundamental misunderstanding of natural phenomena. During the times when witch hunts were prevalent, knowledge of science and the laws that govern the natural world was limited. When faced with unexplained events like crop failures, sudden illnesses, or even natural disasters, communities sought answers. In this quest for understanding, instead of attributing these misfortunes to chance or natural causes, many turned to the supernatural. The unfamiliar was often interpreted as sinister, leading to the attribution of these societal problems to witches. People believed to have made pacts with the devil or to possess malevolent magical powers. The fear of witches grew as stories, often exaggerated, began to circulate. These stories depicted witches as either incredibly powerful individuals capable of inflicting harm, or as deceitful figures who could manipulate others for their gain. As these tales spread, they reinforced existing fears and anxieties, leading to a prevailing belief that witches lived among the common folk, hidden in plain sight. This escalating paranoia created a climate of fear where anyone could be accused, regardless of their previous conduct or character. Accusations of witchcraft often arose from personal grievances or social conflicts. A neighbor might accuse another of witchcraft after a disagreement, knowing that the accusation might lead to serious consequences for their rival. Jealousies, economic rivalries, and long-standing feuds could all find a voice through the witch trials. While some accused individuals may have participated in folk practices or healing rituals, many were simply victims of circumstance, caught up in a web of fear and suspicion. The trials themselves became spectacles, often devoid of the fair processes we now associate with justice. Accused individuals faced harrowing interrogations and were frequently subjected to brutal torture in an attempt to coerce confessions. Under such duress, many confessed to crimes they did not commit, naming others in an effort to save themselves. This cycle of accusations and confessions only fueled the fire, leading to more arrests and more trials, creating a tragic momentum that spiraled out of control. The legal frameworks governing these trials were inherently flawed. In some cases, the mere act of being accused was enough to condemn someone. The infamous witch tests, such as the swimming test, where a person was bound and thrown into water, believed to reveal a witch if they floated, were nonsensical yet terrifying. Those who survived these tests often did so at great peril, while those who perished were typically doomed by societal perspective rather than evidence. As these events unfolded, communities were tragically torn apart. Friends turned against friends, and families were shattered under the weight of fear and accusation. Social cohesion fractured as collective paranoia took hold. Instead of relying on reason and evidence, entire communities often succumbed to hysteria, causing grief and loss that would last for generations. Over time, as Enlightenment philosophies took root and a more scientific understanding of natural phenomena began to emerge, the fervor of witch hunts gradually declined. Scholars and activists started to challenge the misconceptions surrounding witchcraft. The shift toward rational thought and empirical evidence allowed people to reconsider their beliefs about the supernatural. Public sentiment evolved as enlightened thinkers asserted the importance of reason over superstition, encouraging people to examine the world and its mysteries based on observation rather than myth. In today's world, While belief in witchcraft as understood in those times has largely diminished, understanding the historical context of these events remains crucial. The witch hunts serve as a powerful reminder of the dangers of fear-driven belief systems and the potential for misunderstanding to escalate into violence. They teach us about the importance of critical thinking and reason as tools for understanding the natural world. This examination of witchcraft and its trials reveals not only a tragic historical narrative, but also a cautionary tale, one about the power of fear in shaping society and the critical role that education and understanding play in alleviating it. By recognizing how easily misconceptions can escalate into widespread panic, we learn to approach the unknown with curiosity rather than trepidation. In a world filled with unanswered questions, fostering knowledge and empathy can lead toward harmony rather than discord. So as we navigate the complexities of life, let us remember the lessons of the past, seeking understanding over assumption and compassion over blame. Throughout history, humans have been captivated by the mysteries of dreams. In many ancient cultures, dreams were not just illusions of the night. They were thought to hold significant meanings and often served as omens or predictions of future events. This belief in the prophetic capacity of dreams has existed in various societies across the globe, from the ancient Egyptians to the indigenous tribes of North America. The ancient Egyptians, for example, placed great importance on dreams. They believed that dreams were messages from the gods and could provide insight into the future. Royal dreams were often recorded and interpreted by priests who held specialized knowledge about the dream's meanings. One famous dream interpretation book from ancient Egypt, known as the Book of Dreams, meticulously categorized dreams and their potential implications, making it a vital resource for anyone wishing to understand their nighttime visions. Similar beliefs existed in ancient Greece, where dreams were associated with divine messages. The Greek philosopher Aristotle even speculated about the nature of dreams, suggesting that they were reflections of one's waking life, but could also be prophetic in nature. The Greeks built temples dedicated to Asclepius, the god of medicine and healing. People would come to these temples, seeking guidance and understanding through their dreams. They would often partake in rituals before sleeping, hoping for a vision that would lead them to a cure or insight into their lives. The Romans carried this tradition forward, regularly interpreting the dreams of leaders and the general public alike. They viewed dreams as tools for divination. The phrase "dreams can be prophetic" was common in Roman literature, indicating a widespread belief in the ability of dreams to reveal future events. Famous figures such as Julius Caesar reportedly experienced significant dreams that were interpreted by seers, helping to guide their political and military decisions. In many indigenous cultures, dreams were considered bridges between the physical world and the spiritual realm. For example, Native American tribes often viewed dreams as a way to connect with ancestors and spirits who could offer guidance and predictions about the future. Shamans, the spiritual leaders of these tribes, were particularly adept at interpreting dreams. Through rituals and ceremonies, they would seek to understand what the dreams meant for both the individual and the community. Across cultures, one common theme is that dreams often reflect the dreamer's current state of mind or emotional well-being, but they can also provide glimpses into what lies ahead. This dual nature of dreams has fueled countless individuals to pay careful attention to their nighttime visions. People may wake up feeling that a particular dream foretells something significant, prompting them to journal about it or even share it with family and friends for further insight. In the modern era, the idea of dreams as predictive has not entirely faded away. Many still explore the concept, pondering whether dreams can foreshadow actual events, perhaps through a subconscious processing of daily experiences and emotions. It's not uncommon to hear modern anecdotes about people who felt that a dream predicted a significant career change or an unexpected encounter. These stories keep the age-old belief alive, bridging ancient wisdom with contemporary understanding. Researchers today are delving into the science behind dreaming, examining how dreams can reflect our deepest fears and desires. While the scientific community may not endorse the prophetic capacity of dreams in the traditional sense, they do recognize that our brains are hard at work during sleep. The intricate processes that occur during this time can lead to unique insights about our lives and futures. The randomness of dreams can sometimes inspire creative ideas, leading individuals to solutions they would not have considered while awake. The complexity of dreams continues to intrigue psychologists and researchers, many of whom are keen on understanding the symbolic language of our unconscious minds. Some argue that while dreams may not predict the future in a concrete sense, they can provide us with warnings, inspire future decisions, or even guide us toward opportunities we might otherwise overlook. The narratives in our dreams may serve as reminders to pay attention to specific aspects of our lives that require change or transformation. Furthermore, the idea that dreams can provide foresight connects deeply with cultural and spiritual practices that emphasize intuition and the importance of listening to one's inner voice. These beliefs encourage individuals to cultivate a deeper connection with themselves and their surroundings, which can be incredibly beneficial. Reflecting on dreams, whether seen as mystical omens or psychological revelations, can serve as a valuable exercise in self-exploration. So, as you ponder the nature of your nighttime experiences, you might find it rewarding to approach them with curiosity and openness. Consider keeping a dream journal to capture the vivid imagery and emotions that arise during the night. This practice can help illuminate personal insights and potential paths forward in your waking life. Exploring the rich tapestry of dreams allows you to embark on a journey of self-discovery, tapping into that ancient wisdom that has echoed through the ages. Embrace the mysteries of your dreams, allowing them to inspire and guide you as you navigate the complexities of life. Throughout history, there have been numerous misconceptions about various diseases and health conditions. One particularly intriguing example is the long-standing misbelief surrounding scurvy, a disease most commonly associated with sailors and adults, which was thought to affect only the older population. This misconception led to a significant number of cases going undiagnosed and untreated in children for quite some time. Today, we can explore this fascinating topic and uncover how our understanding of nutrition and vitamin C evolved over time. Scurvy is a disease that arises from a deficiency of vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid. This essential vitamin plays a vital role in numerous bodily functions, including the maintenance of healthy skin, blood vessels, bones, and cartilage. Our bodies cannot produce vitamin C on their own, which is why we depend on dietary sources, primarily fruits and vegetables, to obtain it. However, during certain periods in history, particularly during long sea voyages, access to fresh produce was limited. As a result, sailors were particularly susceptible to developing scurvy. Historically, scurvy gained notoriety in the 18th century when it was identified as a significant health issue for sailors on long voyages. Sailors consumed mostly hardtack and meat, devoid of fresh fruits and vegetables. The symptoms of scurvy, which include fatigue, swollen gums, joint pain, and anemia, were often misunderstood, leading to speculation about the cause of the illness. At the time, it was believed that scurvy only affected adults, particularly those in maritime professions. This belief perpetuated the idea that children were not at risk, leading to serious consequences. One of the primary reasons behind this misconception was the absence of any recorded cases of scurvy in children during that time. However, children's dietary habits were often overlooked. Many children, particularly those living in urban areas or near the coasts, had diets that were not as well balanced as we would expect today. They too had limited access to fresh fruits and vegetables, making them just as susceptible to vitamin C deficiency. Nonetheless, their symptoms were often attributed to other, more common childhood illnesses, which contributed to a significant lack of awareness regarding scurvy in pediatric populations. As time went by and more research was conducted, medical professionals began to reevaluate their understanding of scurvy and its potential impacts across different age groups. The connection between diet and health began to gain prominence. Medical practitioners started to recognize that scurvy was not exclusively an adult disease. Historical documentation eventually revealed cases of scurvy in children, particularly among those from impoverished backgrounds whose diets lacked essential nutrients. This shift in understanding helped to dispel the myth that scurvy was a condition that only affected adults. Further research into vitamin C revealed its critical role in promoting the body's overall health and well-being. The idea that scurvy could manifest in children opened the door for broader discussions about nutrition and dietary habits. It guided healthcare professionals to adopt a more comprehensive approach to diagnosing and treating nutritional deficiencies in all age groups, including the young. The importance of fruits and vegetables, and the role they play in preventing diseases like scurvy, became an important topic in dietary education. During the 19th century, sailors began to consume lemon juice and later lime juice, thanks to the recognition that these foods were rich in vitamin C. This shift not only transformed the health of sailors, but also laid the groundwork for further exploration into the significance of vitamins and their impact on health. It became clear that a well-rounded diet was crucial for everyone, regardless of age. This change in dietary practices toward a more balanced and health-conscious approach has continued to evolve. Today, scurvy is rare in developed countries due to the availability of a wide variety of foods and improved nutritional knowledge. The early misbelief that it primarily affected adults serves as a reminder of the importance of understanding how nutritional deficiencies can impact individuals across all age groups. The awareness gained from addressing that misconception highlights the need for vigilance in monitoring children's nutrition, especially in communities where food access may still be a challenge. As we continue to learn more about nutrition and its connection to health, stories from history remind us of the importance of keeping an open mind. Misbeliefs can lead to gaps in our understanding, but through research and discovery, we can correct these misunderstandings. Today, we recognize that proper nutrition is a universal necessity for everyone, regardless of age. Ensuring that children receive an adequate supply of essential vitamins and nutrients strengthens their health and development, guiding them toward bright futures filled with energy and vitality. Embracing knowledge about dietary essentials can bridge gaps in understanding and help foster a society that values health for all its members. With each step forward, we enhance our collective well-being, just as sailors learned to protect themselves from a disease that was once poorly understood. This journey serves as a reminder of the incredible power of nutrition in shaping human health and the importance of staying informed for the betterment of our lives and those of the next generation. Astrology is a fascinating worldview that connects the movements of celestial bodies to life on Earth. It's a belief system that stretches back thousands of years, captivating humanity with its promise of insight into personality traits, relationships, and even future events. Imagine a time when early civilizations gazed up at the night sky, observing the patterns of stars and planets, and began to wonder if those celestial patterns held meaning for their own lives. From the ancient Babylonians to the Greek philosophers, people have long pondered the idea that the cosmos and human existence are intimately linked. The zodiac, a circle of 12 distinct signs, emerged as a way to categorize these celestial influences. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and the others all represent different qualities, traits, and characteristics. For instance, Aries, the first sign of the zodiac, is known for its fiery energy, courage, and initiative, while Taurus is often associated with stability, reliability, and a love for material comforts. How personal experiences can reflect astrological insights is a topic that many enthusiasts enjoy exploring. Someone born under the sign of Cancer, for example, might disclose the nurturing aspects of their personality, perhaps explaining a deep emotional connection with family and a strong sense of empathy towards others. In social situations, they may resonate with the idea that Cancers are often seen as protective and intuitive, traits attributed to the lunar influences associated with their sign. Astrology also appears in many cultures around the world, each with variations that highlight the same idea: the heavens can offer guidance. In Vedic astrology, originating from India, the positions of celestial bodies at the time of birth create a unique map called a natal chart. This chart is thought to unveil an individual's life path, strengths, and challenges. The belief is not just in the position of the sun, moon, and planets, but also in the intricate relationships and aspects between them. Astrological charts are often filled with symbols representing planets like Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, each one holding significance. For example, Mars signifies energy, passion, and drive, while Venus brings forth themes of love, beauty, and harmony. Enthusiasts often study how these planets interact with one another in a person's chart, leading to insights about their experiences and potential pathways in life. In popular culture, horoscopes present a simplified version of astrology. Many people read their daily or monthly forecasts, curious to see how the celestial movements might influence their day-to-day activities. These horoscopes often include general advice or predictions based on one's sun sign. While some find such predictions amusing, others may take them to heart, finding alignment with their current experiences or mood. It's a blend of hope and curiosity that keeps many returning to their astrological roots. Despite its rich history and widespread appeal, astrology faces criticism from the scientific community. Scientists argue that there is no empirical evidence to support the claim that the positions of stars and planets directly influence human behavior or events. They emphasize that correlation does not equal causation, suggesting that any connections drawn from astrological beliefs may simply be coincidental. For many, however, astrology serves a different purpose. It can offer a framework for understanding oneself and one's journey through life. For some, astrology is less about prediction and more about reflection. A person might examine their traits through the lens of their star sign and gain a deeper understanding of their own strengths and weaknesses. This self-exploration can become a valuable tool for personal growth and development, making astrology appealing, even when viewed as lacking scientific backing. Interestingly, astrology also represents a diverse community that fosters connections among those who share similar beliefs. Enthusiasts often gather for discussions, share experiences, and even collaborate on projects centered around astrological themes. This sense of belonging can be immensely comforting for individuals seeking deeper understanding in an increasingly complex world. The popularity of astrology has surged in recent years, fueled by social media platforms where individuals can share their personal astrological experiences, memes, and insights. It is not uncommon to see posts that align someone's emotions or life events with a specific planetary alignment, creating a sense of unity among followers. This modern revival highlights how astrology is continually evolving while staying rooted in its ancient traditions. Astrology prompts reflection on the broader question of how humans connect with the universe. Whether one sees the stars as a guide, a source of entertainment, or simply a historical curiosity, the belief in their influence over our lives weaves a rich tapestry of human experience. The desire to find patterns or meaning in the universe is something that resonates deeply, as it empowers many to explore their inner worlds and engage with the cosmos beyond their immediate surroundings. So, the next time you look up at the night sky, consider the stories written in its constellations, and how they have influenced human beliefs and societies across time. Whether you take to heart the traits of your sun sign, or simply admire the celestial beauty, the conversation around astrology continues to spark intrigue and connection among those who gaze up at the stars. Phrenology is a fascinating and, in some ways, perplexing chapter in the history of psychology and human understanding. It emerged in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, primarily through the work of Franz Joseph Gall, a German physician. Gall proposed a theory that the shape and contours of the skull could reveal a person's character, personality traits, and even intellectual capabilities. According to phrenologists, the human brain is composed of various compartments, each responsible for different aspects of personality and behavior. They theorized that if certain areas of the brain were more developed than others, the corresponding parts of the skull would also protrude. Essentially, they believed that the bumps and divots on a person's head could provide insight into their abilities, tendencies, and even moral standing. For example, phrenologists identified various organs in the brain, such as those governing combativeness, social disposition, and even love of music. They would use calipers, a tool similar to those used in carpentry, to measure the bumps on the skull. If a person had an unusually pronounced bump above the brow, it might indicate a strong sense of self-confidence. Conversely, a flatter area might suggest a lack of ambition. This practice gained significant popularity throughout Europe and parts of the United States during the 19th century. Supporters of phrenology established societies, published journals, and even developed literature that guided people on how to interpret the bumps on their friends' heads. While it might sound bizarre today, many individuals found a sense of intrigue in this method of self-discovery and understanding others. Phrenology became particularly appealing during a time when industrialization was rapidly changing societies. Many were drawn to the idea that personal traits could be understood through physical characteristics, almost as if suggesting a certain predestination based on one's appearance. This dovetailed with a broader cultural fascination with science and measurements. In an age where reasoning and logic were valued, the notion that one could scientifically gauge personality using a physical attribute seemed liberating and insightful. However, despite its initial allure, phrenology began to face scrutiny as scientific methods advanced. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, more rigorous research in psychology, neuroscience, and anatomy began to disprove many of the foundational principles of phrenology. Scientists could not find legitimate correlations between skull shape and intellectual capacity or personality traits. Experiments and studies revealed that the brain is far more complex than the simplistic categorizations proposed by phrenologists. Critics pointed out that phrenology suffered from confirmation bias. Practitioners often looked for evidence that supported their claims while ignoring data that contradicted their theories. Additionally, the rise of other psychological theories, such as psychodynamic theory and behaviorism, offered more credible frameworks for understanding human behavior and cognition. Today, phrenology is considered a pseudoscience, one that lacks empirical support and scientific validity. However, its legacy endures in some ways. The idea that our physical attributes might correlate with psychological traits has resurfaced in modern discussions about body language, facial features, and even genetics. While the strict measurements of the skull have been discredited, the quest to understand the link between our biology and our behaviors remains a relevant topic in contemporary neuroscience and psychology. Interestingly, phrenology invited a dialogue about identity and how we perceive one another based on appearance. It sparked curiosity about the nature of human consciousness and personal differences, igniting discussions that are still pertinent today. Though misguided, phrenology reflected societal values, aspirations, and misconceptions of its time. For some, the story of phrenology serves as a reminder of the importance of critical thinking and scientific rigor. It illustrates how easy it can be to be swayed by seemingly rational ideas that lack evidence. The allure of understanding ourselves and others through such a physical lens is enticing, yet it requires careful scrutiny and a commitment to ongoing learning. In reminiscing about phrenology, one can think of it as an intriguing, albeit flawed, attempt to navigate the complicated nature of human existence. It shows how science can evolve over time, discarding what has been proved wrong and building on what has stood the test of time. This journey highlights the quest for knowledge as both a scientific expedition and a deeply human endeavor, reminding us that while our understanding may change, the desire to comprehend ourselves and each other remains constant. Ultimately, as we look back on phrenology, we can appreciate it as a part of the broader narrative of intellectual history, a reflection of human curiosity and the ongoing pursuit of truth in the labyrinth of the mind. It stands as a testament to our complex relationship with knowledge, perception, and the uniquely human drive to connect the dots between our physical selves and our inner thoughts and feelings. Materia Medica refers to a vast body of knowledge that encompasses the substances used in the treatment and prevention of diseases, dating back to ancient civilizations. This field intertwines aspects of chemistry, botany, and medicine, providing an interesting glimpse into the early understanding of health and healing practices. While some of the concepts within Materia Medica have evolved, many foundational ideas still hold significance today, presenting a fascinating journey through time and cultural perspectives on health. At its core, Materia Medica is essentially a catalog of medicinal substances, including plants, minerals, and animal products. It originated in ancient societies, such as those of the Egyptians, Greeks, and Chinese, where healers studied the properties of various materials. They experimented with a diversity of plants and animals, observing how they affected the human body. For instance, the ancient Egyptians used herbs like garlic and thyme, which were believed to have protective and healing qualities. Their use of plants illustrates an early form of pharmacology, albeit rooted in a mix of empirical observation and spiritual beliefs. As we move forward in history, ancient Greek thinkers like Hippocrates and Galen contributed to the understanding of Materia Medica. They classified substances according to their four humors, believing that an imbalance could lead to disease. This classification system relied heavily on incorrect medical beliefs, but marked a critical step in the development of medical knowledge. For example, hemlock, a poisonous plant, was documented for its effects on the nervous system, demonstrating that even toxic substances were included in their medicinal repertoire. This reflected the limited understanding of plant toxicity and the complexities of human physiology at the time. The famous Roman scholar and physician, Dioscorides, compiled a 5-volume text known as, quote, De Materia Medica. This work served as the cornerstone of pharmacology for centuries, and was used as a reference in many cultures. Dioscorides categorized over 600 plants, detailing their medicinal uses and preparations. His observations, while sometimes flawed, showed a systematic approach to documenting materials found in nature. For example, he noted the use of willow bark for its analgesic properties, which we now recognize contains salicylic acid, an ingredient in modern aspirin. In ancient Chinese medicine, the Materia Medica was considered a vital resource. The Shenong Bencao Jing, or the Classic of Herbal Medicine, is one of the earliest texts documenting medicinal plants. This ancient work lists hundreds of substances, categorizing them as superior, medium, and inferior based on their therapeutic effects and toxicity levels. This text reflected a deep connection between nature and healing, blending philosophy and empirical knowledge. Notably, ginseng was regarded as a panacea, believed to enhance vitality and promote longevity, a belief that still persists in modern herbal practices. During the Middle Ages, the study of Materia Medica gradually transitioned to Europe, influenced by Greek and Arab scholars. Avicenna's Canon of Medicine synthesized earlier knowledge and became a standard medical text in many parts of the world. He categorized substances based on their properties, stating which were hot or cold, dry or moist, according to the prevailing beliefs of that time. Such classifications might seem outdated now, but they were crucial in establishing an understanding of pharmacodynamics, even if many connections were later proved incorrect. With the rise of modern pharmacology in the 19th and 20th centuries, many ideas put forth by ancient scholars faced scrutiny. Chemical analysis revealed that some substances once thought beneficial were ineffective or even harmful. For instance, bloodletting, once a common treatment for various ailments, was based on the humoral theory of medicine, highlighting how erroneous beliefs can persist in medical practice. Despite this, Materia Medica laid the groundwork for studying natural products and their potential therapeutic effects, bridging ancient wisdom with modern science. Today, while many historical classifications may be viewed as misinterpretations, they played a significant role in the development of pharmacology as a science. The journey from ancient substances to contemporary medicine showcases the evolution of knowledge and the sometimes misguided paths that led to vital discoveries. Understanding Materia Medica also underscores the importance of continuing to question and refine our medical beliefs. In conclusion, Materia Medica represents a rich tapestry of historical perspectives on health, combining empirical observations with cultural beliefs. While some concepts may have been erroneous, the legacy of these early practices continues to inform our understanding of medicinal substances today. This exploration not only highlights the ingenuity and resourcefulness of past civilizations, but also serves as a reminder of the ongoing quest for knowledge in the field of medicine. The interplay of nature, human health, and historical context remains a captivating narrative, revealing how our ancestors became the pioneers of the healing arts. The mandrake plant has fascinated people for centuries, shrouded in mystery and steeped in myth. Its history is a captivating exploration that weaves together ancient beliefs, folklore, and medicinal practices. This herb, known scientifically as mandragora, has roots deep in various cultures, often portrayed as more than just a plant, but a being with its own supernatural characteristics. Many myths surrounding the mandrake stem from its appearance. The plant typically has a forked root that can resemble a human figure, which likely contributed to the stories that emerged over time. The very shape of the root suggested to our ancestors that it possessed some form of consciousness or spirit. As ancient people looked for connections between nature and spirituality, the mandrake quickly became associated with the divine and the occult. One of the most notable legends about the mandrake is its infamous shriek. It was believed that when the root was pulled from the ground, it would emit a blood-curdling scream that could drive anyone who heard it to madness or death. This idea paints a vivid picture of the plant as not just a passive organism, but as a sentient being capable of an eerie cry. To protect themselves from this terrifying sound, various protective rituals were devised. Some would send a dog to pull the mandrake from the earth, reasoning that the animal would be able to handle the shriek better than a human. Others would use charms and spells to shield themselves from the malevolent effects of the plant, illustrating the lengths people went to avoid its mythic powers. These stories of the mandrake shriek took hold in various cultures and found a place in literature as well. In the Bible, specifically in the book of Genesis, it is mentioned as a plant that brings about desire and fertility, hinting at its dual role in both life-giving and life-taking aspects. Throughout Europe, during the Middle Ages, the mandrake was frequently featured in tales of witchcraft, often depicted as a key ingredient in potions and spells used by witches. This reinforced an image of the mandrake as a plant not just of folklore, but of dark magic, which captured the imaginations of many. The medicinal uses of the mandrake also contributed to its notoriety. Historical texts indicate that the plant was utilized for various ailments, believed to have analgesic, sedative, and aphrodisiac properties. Some medicinal practitioners, aware of the plant's potential toxicity, would take extreme caution to prepare remedies that extracted its benefits while minimizing harm. The blending of its medicinal qualities with its menacing reputation fostered a sense of fear and reverence surrounding the plant. In the realm of alchemy and ancient medicine, The mandrake was also thought to hold considerable powers. Alchemists sought after the plant, believing it to possess the capability to not only heal, but also to unlock various mysteries of life. Its use in potions, salves, and elixirs for both physical and spiritual ailments underscored its role in the quest for knowledge during the Renaissance, as practitioners mingled science and mysticism. Even in folklore, the mandrake's significance is hard to ignore. Various stories emerged about its power to bring about love or fortune, illustrating the plant's role in human desires and relationships. The belief that the mandrake could enhance one's chances in love led many to seek it out, further entrenching its status as a magical herb of attraction. The connection between the mandrake and human desires illustrates how deeply intertwined human experience is with the natural world, reflecting our inherent curiosity and quest for understanding. Today, the mandrake may no longer carry the same foreboding weight it once did, but its allure continues. It represents a fascinating chapter in the human relationship with nature, illustrating how plants can evoke both fear and fascination. Its enduring legacy reminds us of a time when the lines between the natural world and the mystical were blurred, and the power of belief held sway over reality. The mandrake plant serves as a reminder of human creativity, symbolism, and the stories we tell ourselves about the world around us. These tales of supernatural abilities and protective measures reflect our innate desire to find meaning in the mysteries of life. Whether viewed through the lens of myth, medicine, or magic, the mandrake remains a testament to our collective imagination and the deep-rooted connections between nature and humanity. In exploring the myths of the mandrake, we see a tapestry of human thought that spans cultures and eras, revealing insights into our values, fears, and desires. The narrative of the mandrake plant, from its eerie shriek to its medicinal applications, reflects not just the history of a single herb, but the story of humanity's quest for understanding the natural world, blending fact with fiction in a captivating dance through time. As we look back at these legends, we find that they continue to resonate, challenging us to consider what lies beneath the surface of our everyday interactions with the natural world. In understanding these stories, we deepen our appreciation for the ancient wisdom found in nature and its enduring impact on our lives. In the early 20th century, the battle against malaria was a major public health concern. At that time, people believed that the best way to combat this disease was through a method that seemed simple and straightforward: draining swamps. It was a common thought that standing water and marshy areas were the primary culprits behind the spread of malaria. Consequently, public health officials focused their efforts on draining these wetlands to eradicate the problem. But as history would unfold, this approach offered a fascinating insight into our understanding of disease and its vectors. Swamps and marshlands have often been viewed as breeding grounds for numerous pests and diseases. People noticed that anywhere there was stagnant water, there seemed to be an increase in mosquitoes. Mosquitoes, of course, are closely associated with diseases like malaria and dengue fever. This led to the logical assumption that by draining swamps, one could directly prevent the growth of mosquito populations. However, this idea was steeped in misconceptions and a narrow understanding of the ecology at play. In actuality, the relationship between standing water and mosquito populations is complex. Not all water bodies are equal when it comes to mosquito breeding. Certain mosquito species thrive in clean, stagnant water, while others prefer more polluted or brackish environments. By draining swamps, public health officials sometimes inadvertently increased the abundance of other mosquito species that were more efficient vectors for malaria transmission. The very act of draining land altered the local ecosystem, often leading to unexpected outcomes. For instance, when a swamp or marsh was drained to create land for agriculture or urban development, the water that was removed sometimes led to the creation of new, smaller pools of water. These smaller pools could become prime breeding sites for mosquitoes, leading to a potential increase in malaria cases rather than a decrease. This outcome was not immediately evident, emphasizing the need for a deeper understanding of ecological interactions. In addition to altering breeding habitats, draining swamps also had effects on local wildlife. Many species that played a role in controlling mosquito populations were displaced. Birds, amphibians, and other creatures that consume mosquito larvae found themselves losing their homes. This led to an imbalance, where fewer natural predators meant higher mosquito populations, countering the intended goals of public health initiatives. The realization that malaria was transmitted by mosquitoes came gradually. through research and observations that unraveled the intricacies of disease transmission. Scientists discovered that it was not merely the presence of stagnant water that caused malaria, but rather the specific behavior of mosquitoes, especially species like Anopheles, which were effective carriers of the malaria parasite Plasmodium. Over time, as researchers studied the life cycle of mosquitoes, they identified the stages at which interventions could be more effective. By targeting mosquito larvae in existing water sources, rather than draining entire swamps, they began to make significant strides in malaria control. This shift in understanding highlights the importance of scientific inquiry and adaptation in public health efforts. Moreover, the act of draining swamps also had notable impacts on the environment. Wetlands provide critical ecosystem services, acting as natural filters for water, providing habitats for diverse species, and helping to mitigate floods. To address malaria effectively, it became essential to not only consider human health, but also the health of our ecosystems. This narrative of draining swamps in the fight against malaria serves as a reminder of the complexities that exist within nature. It underscores the importance of viewing public health initiatives through a multifaceted lens that embraces ecological balance. It reveals how initial ideas, while well-intentioned, can lead to unintended consequences if not thoroughly examined. As we reflect on this historical strategy, we recognize the need for ongoing research, collaboration, and education in public health. Each step forward in our understanding of disease transmission requires a commitment to learning from past mistakes and recognizing the nuanced relationships that exist in our environment. Today, integrated approaches that combine habitat management, vector control, and community engagement continue to shape efforts in reducing malaria transmission. Understanding the intricate relationships between species, their habitats, and human activities is key to making informed decisions that benefit both public health and the environment. In essence, the saga of draining swamps is not just a story of a misguided effort. It illustrates the evolving nature of science and health. It invites us to think critically about solutions to public health challenges and encourages us to consider both human and ecological needs. As we move forward, the lessons learned from this past will help guide future strategies to create healthier communities and more resilient ecosystems. Understanding that health is intertwined with the environment enables us to develop holistic approaches that respect nature while also protecting ourselves. In doing so, we can build a better future that recognizes the multifaceted dimensions of what it means to be healthy in relation to the world around us. Throughout history, various cultures have sought to explain the inexplicable. Among these ancient beliefs is the idea that demons, malevolent and unseen forces, are responsible for causing illness and disease. This notion has roots in several civilizations, where sickness was often perceived as more than just a physical ailment. It was frequently viewed as a spiritual or supernatural affliction, the result of demonic possession or influence. In many ancient societies, disease and misfortune were closely linked to the actions of malevolent spirits. The Egyptians, for instance, had a complex pantheon that included both benevolent and harmful entities. They believed that diseases could be caused by various demons seeking to disrupt the order of life. To protect themselves, people turned to rituals, prayers, and offerings, attempting to appease these spirits and restore balance to their lives. Similarly, in ancient Mesopotamia, evil spirits were thought to inhabit the bodies of the afflicted. The Sumerians and Babylonians had intricate systems of belief that attributed illness to the wrath of the gods or the influence of demons. Exorcisms became a common practice, where priests or healers would invoke powerful spells to drive out the offending spirit. The act of purging demons was not merely a spiritual endeavor, it was seen as essential for the restoration of health. This belief system was not confined to the ancient Near East. In medieval Europe, the concept of demonic possession became intertwined with the understanding of diseases. When faced with unexplained ailments, communities often believed that individuals were possessed by devils or evil spirits. Religious figures and healers would conduct rituals to banish these demons, restoring the individual's soul and physical well-being. During this time, the idea of witchcraft emerged, linking female power to demonic forces. Many women were accused of witchcraft and suffering from ailments, leading to tragic consequences. The Islamic tradition also carries similar beliefs. Jinn, supernatural beings that can be either benevolent or malevolent, are said to cause various illnesses. Islamic doctors in the medieval era would often incorporate spiritual healing alongside medical practices. They understood that physical ailments could be manifestations of a deeper spiritual struggle. Spiritual protections, prayers, and specific rituals played a crucial role in the healing process. In indigenous cultures around the world, the connection between illness and spiritual disturbance is prevalent. The Navajo, for example, believe that diseases can manifest when an individual is out of harmony with their environment or community. This imbalance, often attributed to negative spirits or disturbances, requires intervention from a healer. They conduct ceremonies that may include prayers, songs, and dances to restore harmony and drive away the malevolent forces at play. These ancient beliefs began to wane as scientific understanding progressed, particularly with the advancements in medicine and microbiology. The discovery of pathogens, viruses, and bacteria shifted the focus from spiritual causes of illness to biological explanations. However, the remnants of these beliefs still linger in various forms, reflecting humanity's ongoing struggle to understand and explain the nature of health and disease. For many, the narrative of demons causing illness serves as a reminder of humanity's quest for answers in a world that increasingly seems chaotic and unpredictable. Even today, some still turn to spiritual healing, blending ancient practices with modern medicine. This fusion highlights a crucial aspect of the human experience, the desire for connection, understanding, and healing, both physical and spiritual. Though the belief in demons as the cause of disease has largely diminished in modern times, the stories and ideas surrounding them continue to influence our understanding of illness. They echo in literature, folklore, and even contemporary discussions about mental health. The struggle against invisible foes and the attempts to reconcile the body and spirit remain relevant themes. Exploring these ancient beliefs opens up a window into the rich tapestry of human experience. It shows how diverse cultures have tried to make sense of pain, suffering, and uncertainty. By examining these narratives, we not only recognize the historical context of medical understanding, but also the deep psychological and emotional layers of human existence. This blend of the mystical and the scientific creates a dynamic dialogue about our well-being. While we no longer attribute illnesses to demonic forces in most cases, the quest for meaning and suffering persists. The intersection of ancient beliefs and modern knowledge illustrates humanity's enduring need to find balance in life and health. As we navigate the complexities of our current world, remembering the ancient beliefs surrounding illness acts as a reminder of the rich historical narratives that inform our understanding of well-being. The stories of battles against unseen forces, whether they be demons or germs, reveal our relentless spirit to confront adversity and seek healing. Whether through the lens of science or spirituality, the pursuit of understanding health reflects our deep-seated desire for safety, comfort, and ultimately, peace. Throughout history, lead has been regarded for its unique properties, making it a popular material in various applications. Notably, lead has been used as a preservative in pottery and cosmetics, with many believing it to be a safe option for centuries. However, as understanding of its toxic effects evolved, the use of lead underwent significant scrutiny, revealing a complex history that intertwines art, commerce, and health. In ancient times, pottery served both practical and aesthetic purposes. Lead glazing became a common technique, giving pottery a shiny finish and making it more appealing. The intricate patterns and striking colors achieved with lead glazes added immense value to ceramic goods, particularly among wealthy consumers. People prized these beautifully crafted items, often unaware of the hidden dangers. The lead in the glaze sometimes leached into food and beverages, especially acidic items, leading to health risks for those who used these vessels daily. The lush finish of lead-glazed pottery was not merely for decoration, it also functioned to protect the vessels and their contents. In many cultures, pottery was essential for cooking, storage, and serving meals. Lead was an appealing choice, as it helped to create a durable surface that could withstand daily use. While some artisans were likely aware of potential drawbacks, the immediate aesthetic benefits often overshadowed any negative aspects. The allure of beautifully crafted dishes outshone the risks they carried, leading to widespread acceptance. Cosmetics, too, found their place for lead in the annals of history. Ancient Egyptians are well known for their use of cosmetics, which were often made with natural ingredients blended with various minerals and metals, including lead. The appeal of the rich colors and textures provided by lead-based compounds was irresistible to many. For instance, a lead-based compound known as white lead was valued for its ability to produce a pale complexion, a beauty standard prevalent in many ancient cultures. The use of lead in these cosmetics can be particularly shocking today, as the thought of putting toxic substances on one's skin is unsettling. Yet, during those times, lead was perceived as an enhancement, a tool to achieve beauty and social status. People applied lead-based powders and creams to their faces, unaware that they might be putting their health at risk. This ignorance stemmed from a lack of understanding of the cumulative effects of lead over time, which could lead to significant health issues. The turning point came as scientists began to study the effects of lead more thoroughly. Researchers discovered that lead is a neurotoxin, meaning that it can cause significant damage to the nervous system. Chronic exposure can lead to a myriad of health problems, including cognitive impairments, developmental delays, and various other serious conditions. As this knowledge became widespread, society's perception of lead shifted dramatically. Regulations began to change, and efforts to eliminate lead from pottery and cosmetics took shape. Artisans and manufacturers were confronted with the challenge of creating safe, appealing products without the use of lead. Innovations in glazing techniques emerged as chemists worked diligently to discover alternatives that would not compromise the beauty or durability of pottery. Today, various non-toxic materials provide vibrant colors, producing stunning effects without the associated health risks. In the cosmetics industry, the awareness around lead toxicity led to a drastic reformulation of products. Companies began to focus on creating formulations that leaned toward safety and health. Labels became clearer, and extensive research was mandated to ensure that harmful substances could not find their way into consumer products. As customers became more aware of the ingredients they were putting on their skin, the demand for non-toxic and safe formulations grew. The shift away from lead in pottery and cosmetics serves as a powerful reminder of how science and art can intersect with societal health standards. Understanding lead's toxicity has not only led to safer practices, but also allowed for the flourishing of creativity using alternative materials. Today, artisans and cosmetic chemists thrive in an environment that prioritizes health without sacrificing beauty. The history of lead as a preservative reflects a journey filled with creativity, ignorance, and ultimately transformation. Society's willingness to learn and adapt has paved the way for a safer and more vibrant future in both the arts and beauty industries. This evolution encourages a continuous commitment to prioritizing health and safety, ensuring that both functional and aesthetic qualities can coexist harmoniously in our everyday lives. In appreciating the beauty of ceramics, pottery, and cosmetics, we now do so with a more informed perspective, celebrating artistry while safeguarding our well-being. In ancient times, civilizations sought to understand the universe and their place within it. One of the most intriguing concepts that emerged was the idea of celestial spheres. This fascinating cosmology proposed that the stars and planets were embedded in crystal-like spheres that rotated around a central Earth. This notion captivated the imaginations of many and provided a framework for understanding the cosmos. The concept of celestial spheres can be traced back to ancient Greece, particularly to philosophers like Plato and Aristotle. Plato envisioned the universe as a harmonious arrangement where celestial bodies moved in perfect circles. Aristotle built upon this idea, proposing that there were multiple spheres, each one carrying a different celestial body, such as the moon, sun, and the planets we now know as Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. To Aristotle, these spheres were physical structures that not only contain these luminaries, but also govern their movements in the night sky. As time passed, this model was further detailed by the influential astronomer Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century AD. Ptolemy's geocentric model placed Earth at the center of the universe, with celestial spheres rotating around it. His work, particularly the Almagest, meticulously plotted the paths of the available planets and stars, allowing for predictions of their positions. Ptolemy's theories were widely accepted for more than a millennium, forming the backbone of medieval astronomy. Imagine standing in a quiet village during the Middle Ages, gazing up at the stars twinkling against the dark canvas of the night sky. To the people of this time, each star and planet was part of a grand design, moving in their lovely orbits, governed by divine mathematics. The phases of the moon, the positions of certain stars, and even the rising and setting of the sun were celebrated phenomena, integral to the rhythm of life. However, as history marched on, a new perspective began to emerge. The work of astronomers like Nicholas Copernicus, Johannes Kepler, and Galileo Galilei dramatically reshaped our understanding of celestial mechanics. Copernicus famously proposed a heliocentric model, placing the sun at the center of the universe instead of the Earth. This radical shift began to unravel the ancient cosmological tapestry that had held sway for centuries. Kepler further advanced these ideas by introducing his laws of planetary motion, revealing that planets moved in elliptical orbits rather than perfect circles. His discoveries suggested a more complex dynamic than the simple rotation of spheres. Meanwhile, Galileo's use of the telescope opened a new window to the universe. He observed celestial bodies in unprecedented detail and provided evidence that challenged the traditional views. His observations of Jupiter's moons and the phases of Venus offered profound insights, affirming the validity of a heliocentric understanding of the cosmos. As modern astronomy progressed, the notion of celestial spheres was increasingly challenged. With the development of new technologies and a deeper understanding of physics, the cosmos was revealed to be far more intricate. The once clear boundaries of spheres gave way to a reality where stars and planets roamed in a vast, three-dimensional expanse of space, influenced by gravitational forces rather than fixed spheres. Fast forward to today, and we find ourselves exploring a universe that is continuously expanding, filled with millions of stars, galaxies, and celestial phenomena that ancient thinkers could scarcely have imagined. Telescopes have evolved from simple instruments to technological marvels, allowing us to peer into the distant reaches of the universe. We now know that stars are born and die over billions of years, that black holes warp space and time, and that dark matter and dark energy dominate the contents of the cosmos. The story of celestial spheres offers a captivating glimpse into how human understanding has evolved. It reflects not just the pursuit of knowledge, but the inherent curiosity that drives us to ask questions about the nature of existence. Each advance in our understanding has brought us one step closer to unraveling the mysteries of the universe, from the ancient belief in perfect spheres to the awe-inspiring discoveries of the modern era. In reflecting upon the concept of celestial spheres, one might come to appreciate both the limitations and the creativity of ancient thinkers. Their theories were born of observation and imagination, and while later discoveries have disproven many aspects of their cosmology, the journey towards understanding the heavens continues. Each new piece of knowledge builds upon the last, formulating a tapestry of scientific discovery that reminds us of our place in the vast cosmos. As we look up at the stars tonight, we can remember the intellects of the past who gazed at these same stars, seeking to unravel their secrets. The celestial spheres may no longer represent our view of the universe, but the spirit of inquiry and wonder they inspire remains very much alive. Today, our quest for knowledge continues, with each generation of thinkers contributing to a deeper understanding of the universe and our connection to it. The legacy of celestial spheres serves as a reminder of how far we have come and how much more there is yet to discover. Alchemy has long captured the human imagination, weaving a tapestry of intrigue and mystique throughout history. At the heart of this ancient practice lies the legendary Philosopher's Stone, a mythical substance believed to possess extraordinary abilities. Let us embark on a journey to explore the fascinating world of alchemy, the quest for the Philosopher's Stone, and the enduring myths surrounding it. Alchemy originated in ancient Egypt and flourished in various cultures, from Greece to the Islamic Golden Age and eventually into medieval Europe. Alchemists were not merely early chemists, but also philosophers and spiritual seekers. They viewed their work as a way to understand the mysteries of nature and the universe. Among the various goals of alchemy, one stood out above the rest: the transformation of base metals, such as lead, into precious metals like gold. This pursuit was not simply about material wealth. It symbolized a deeper quest for spiritual enlightenment and the perfection of the self. The Philosopher's Stone became the ultimate prize for those embarking on the alchemical journey. This legendary stone was said to possess the power to transmute base metals into gold through a complex process that remains secret to this day. Imagine being able to take a dull piece of lead and, with the right combination of elements and wisdom, transform it into a shimmering nugget of gold. For many alchemists, this transformation was not just physical. It also represented the possibility of personal transformation and spiritual elevation. Additionally, the Philosopher's Stone was believed to grant immortality, or at the very least it could provide the elixir of life, a potion that could prolong life indefinitely. Picture a shimmering, mysterious liquid that holds the key to strength, vitality, and eternal youth. The legends surrounding the stone often included tales of incredible alchemical feats where skilled practitioners would uncover its secrets and, with it, attain a divine-like existence. As the centuries passed, the allure of the Philosopher's Stone continued to inspire countless individuals, from kings to scholars. One such figure was Nicolas Flamel, a 14th-century French scribe who became famous for his supposed discovery of the stone. He was said to have turned lead into gold and lived for centuries, a symbol of what it meant to unlock the mysteries of alchemy. His story, though shrouded in myth, illustrates how the pursuit of the Philosopher's Stone transcended mere science. It became a narrative only limited by one's imagination. Many alchemists also saw the Philosopher's Stone as integral to the understanding of the cosmos. They believed that the stone could reveal the connections between all matter in the universe, bridging the physical and spiritual realms. This idea spoke to a deeper understanding that the elements we see around us, earth, water, air, and fire, are not isolated entities, but are part of a larger whole. The journey to find the stone was as much about understanding these relationships as it was about the transformations themselves. In literature and popular culture, the Philosopher's Stone has found a lasting legacy. A modern example can be found in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, where the stone is a pivotal artifact that holds great power. This connection illustrates how the myth of the Philosopher's Stone has transitioned through the ages, morphing to fit the narrative of the time while retaining its core essence. It remains a symbol of hope and the endless search for knowledge. But the dream of discovering the Philosopher's Stone invites us to reflect on a more profound question. What does it mean to seek wisdom? The pursuit of knowledge and the transformation it brings is a universal theme that transcends generations. Whether through the lens of ancient alchemy or contemporary pursuits of invention and discovery, the desire to unlock the mysteries of existence binds us together. The allure of the Philosopher's Stone also teaches us the importance of the journey rather than just the destination. While the end goal of turning lead into gold is captivating, it is often the exploration, the mistakes, and the learning experiences along the way that yield true understanding and personal growth. Each step taken in the pursuit of knowledge enriches us, allowing us to see the world in new and vibrant ways. Alchemy, at its core, invites introspection and curiosity. It reminds us that, like the alchemists of old, we too can transform our lives through knowledge, creativity, and resilience. The quest for the Philosopher's Stone may have begun as a literal pursuit of gold and immortality, but as time has progressed, its meaning has evolved to embody the search for truth and self-discovery. So as you reflect on the legend of the Philosopher's Stone, consider how the essence of alchemy still resonates in our lives today. What transformations are you seeking? What knowledge are you pursuing? In the grand tapestry of existence, each thread is significant and worthy. Embrace the alchemical spirit of exploration and let your own journey shape your understanding of the world, transforming the mundane into the extraordinary, whether it be through ideas, actions, or the endless wonder of discovery that awaits around every corner. In the history of medicine, few practices have been as intriguing and controversial as bloodletting, an ancient therapeutic method that dates back thousands of years. Bloodletting was grounded in the belief that our bodies contained four fundamental humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. It was thought that these humors needed to be in balance for a person to maintain health and wellness. This belief stemmed from the teachings of Hippocrates, often referred to as the father of medicine, and was further developed by Galen, a prominent physician in ancient Rome. According to this ancient understanding, an excess of any one humor could lead to illness. For instance, it was believed that an abundance of blood could be responsible for conditions such as fever or inflammation. As a result, practitioners thought that releasing some blood from the body would restore harmony among the humors and thus cure ailments. Bloodletting was performed in various ways, including the use of leeches and venesection, which involves cutting a vein. Each method came with its own set of tools and techniques, reflecting the level of expertise of the practitioner. The sight of crimson droplets cascading into a bowl was considered a necessary sacrifice for the greater good of health, and patients often felt a sense of relief, whether from actual medical benefits or from the placebo effect of the procedure. The practice gained significant traction during the Middle Ages, where it was commonly employed by physicians throughout Europe. It became a standard treatment for a wide array of illnesses, from headaches to chronic diseases. People of all classes sought bloodletting as a remedy, turning to local barbers, who served as multifunctional medical practitioners. These barbers would often hang a red and white pole outside their shops, symbolizing their dual role in both haircuts and healthcare. Despite its widespread acceptance, bloodletting had its critics. Some physicians argued against the practice, pointing out the risks associated with removing blood. They noted that in some cases, patients were left weakened or even more ill after undergoing the procedure. While some practitioners were meticulous in their methods, others sometimes bled patients unnecessarily, leading to dire consequences. This disparity in practice eventually led to increased scrutiny and doubt about the efficacy of bloodletting. As the field of medicine progressed, new understandings of human physiology and diseases emerged, particularly during the Renaissance and the Enlightenment periods. The development of the scientific method encouraged a more evidence-based approach to medicine. Over time, the idea that our bodily fluids needed to be balanced started to lose traction. As understanding of the circulatory system and immune response expanded, physicians began to realize that conditions such as fever were not necessarily indicative of imbalance among the humors, but instead a response to infection or inflammation. In the 19th century, as medical science advanced, the practice of bloodletting began to decline significantly. Doctors now relied on improved diagnostic techniques and treatments, including the use of medications, surgeries, and therapies that address the underlying causes of disease rather than just their symptoms. The advent of anesthesia and advances in surgical techniques provided new avenues for healing, further diminishing the reliance on bloodletting. While bloodletting is now regarded as a relic of medical history, it's important to appreciate its role in the evolution of medical practices. This once common treatment provides insight into how ancient peoples sought to understand health and disease. The belief in humors shaped countless medical practices and thought processes, influencing how generations approached medicine long before the advent of modern technology. Bloodletting is also a reminder of the importance of critical thinking in medicine. The lessons learned from this practice highlight how evolving knowledge can pave the way for progress, while also cautioning against the acceptance of widely held beliefs without adequate evidence. Today, medicine continues to be a field in constant flux, driven by new discoveries and innovations that redefine our understanding of health and disease. Although bloodletting is primarily a historical curiosity now, it serves a purpose in teaching us about the nature of human inquiry and the quest for healing. Each era has contributed to the cumulative knowledge that shapes our current medical practices. As we explore the past, we gain a deeper appreciation for the diligence and curiosity that fueled medical advancement, illuminating a path towards a more informed and effective approach to healthcare. Engaging with the history of medical practices like bloodletting can help us appreciate the journey of medicine and the ongoing search for balance in our bodies and lives. Understanding the past gives us insights into the present and future, encouraging a continued quest for knowledge that transcends time. With each discovery, humanity takes one step closer to unraveling the complexities of health and well-being, reminding us of the ever-evolving nature of our quest for understanding the human body. The relationship between the moon and human behavior has captivated people for centuries, leading to a variety of beliefs and superstitions. The idea that the lunar cycle affects our moods and actions can be traced back to ancient civilizations, such as the Greeks and Romans, who viewed the moon as a powerful force that could influence everything from agriculture to personal relationships. As we delve into this fascinating subject, it's essential to consider how the moon's phases might correlate with changes in our behavior. The lunar cycle consists of several phases: new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, and waning crescent. Some believe that each phase brings distinct energies that can affect our emotional states and actions. For instance, the full moon is often seen as a time of heightened emotions and energy. Many people report feeling more restless or anxious during this phase. This belief is pervasive in folklore, and it leads to descriptions of bizarre behaviors, especially among those with mental health concerns. The term lunar lunacy has even emerged from this connection, implying that the full moon might trigger episodes of extreme behavior. Anecdotal evidence suggests that people might act differently during this time, and police reports sometimes show an increase in various types of incidents coinciding with the full moon. On the other hand, the new moon is thought to be a time for new beginnings and introspection. During this phase, many feel a sense of calm or motivation to start fresh. Some people engage in setting intentions or making plans for the coming weeks. This symbolizes a time for clarity and reflection, indicating that our inner thoughts might be more prominent during the new moon. Interestingly, it is important to note that while these beliefs persist, scientific research on the lunar effect remains inconclusive. Several studies have attempted to link behaviors like crime rates, psychiatric hospital admissions, and even birth rates to the lunar cycle, but findings have been mixed. Some researchers argue that the supposed connections could arise from cognitive biases, where people are more likely to remember striking events that coincide with the full moon due to cultural narratives surrounding its influence. One compelling aspect of the moon's effect deals with human biology. The human body is composed of about 60% water, and as we know, the moon's gravitational pull affects the tides in the oceans. Some theorists suggest that this interaction might extend to human physiology and emotions. However, concrete scientific evidence to support the direct influence of the moon on human behavior remains ambiguous. Moreover, cultures all around the world have their interpretations of the lunar effect. In various indigenous cultures, the phases of the moon are interwoven with rituals, agricultural practices, and spiritual beliefs. For instance, some farmers plant crops based on the lunar cycle, believing that certain phases enhance growth and yield. This agricultural wisdom reflects the broader understanding that the moon is an essential part of natural cycles, influencing not just water levels but also animal and plant behaviors. In contemporary discussions, many advocates of lunar influence also mention the concept of moon signs, derived from astrology. The moon sign, according to astrological beliefs, is determined by the position of the moon at the time of one's birth. People often find that their moon sign plays a significant role in shaping their emotional responses, emphasizing a connection to the lunar phases that may resonate deeply on a personal level. The continued exploration of human behavior through the lens of astronomy remains a timeless interest. Whether or not one subscribes to the idea of the lunar effect influencing mood, it's evident that the moon enthralls people. Its ethereal beauty and ever-changing appearance in the night sky inspire reflection and creativity. Artists, poets, and musicians have long drawn inspiration from its glow, suggesting that the moon may indirectly enrich our emotional landscape, regardless of scientific validation. In the end, while the scientific community debates the extent of the moon's influence on behavior, our relationship with this celestial body endures. The moon embodies mystery and wonder, serving as a reminder of the natural world's interconnectedness. Whether it excites or calms our spirits, the fascination with the moon continues to shine brightly in human culture, linking generations through shared stories of its enigmatic pull and charming presence. Throughout history, the concept of hysteria in women has played a significant role in shaping perceptions of female health and behavior. Originating from ancient Greece, the term hysteria derives from the Greek word hystera, meaning uterus. This association reflects the deeply rooted belief that a woman's physical and mental health was intrinsically linked to her reproductive system. The idea painted women as inherently unstable, with their emotional distress often being attributed to their biological functions. In ancient Greece, this belief was so entrenched that women exhibiting a range of symptoms, from anxiety to irritability, were often diagnosed with hysteria. Medical practitioners at the time believed that a wandering uterus could cause various ailments, suggesting that when women were not fulfilling their roles as wives and mothers, their uterus would become dangerously displaced, leading to severe psychological disturbances. Fast forward to the 19th century, and this notion persisted into modern medical practices, albeit in more sophisticated terms. As society moved into the Victorian era, hysteria became a diagnosis for women who displayed what was considered inappropriate or excessive emotion. It was not uncommon for women to be institutionalized for behavior that deviated from social norms. Imagine a woman feeling overwhelmed with the demands of family life, and rather than seeking understanding, she is labeled hysterical and sent away to a facility. The medical community advanced the idea that hysteria was a serious condition, with various treatments ranging from rest cures to more extreme measures like surgical interventions. The irony of this situation highlights how women's voices were often silenced under the guise of medical necessity. Instead of recognizing mental health as a complex interplay of factors, biological, psychological, and social, traditional medical paradigms opted for a singular, often misogynistic explanation. Notably, one of the most famous proponents of the hysteria diagnosis was Sigmund Freud. His theories, while groundbreaking in some respects, further entrenched the notion of hysteria as a psychological ailment primarily afflicting women. Freud's work suggested that unresolved sexual conflicts were at the heart of hysterical symptoms, casting a shadow over women's experiences and emotions. This perspective served only to reinforce sexist attitudes toward women, presuming that their mental health struggles stemmed from their sexual biology and not from the many pressures that society placed on them. As time progressed, however, a more nuanced understanding of mental health emerged. The feminist movement in the late 20th century began to challenge these long-standing beliefs and the stigma surrounding them. Women's health advocates pushed for a better understanding of mental health and the unique experiences that women encounter. This shift in perspective allowed for a broader lens through which to view emotional distress. It acknowledged that stress, trauma, and societal expectations could significantly influence emotional well-being. Researchers and medical professionals now recognize that mental health disorders can affect anyone, regardless of gender, and that they arise from a combination of factors including genetics, environment, and personal history. The outdated notion of hysteria as a distinctly feminine ailment has been thoroughly debunked, highlighting the need for comprehensive approaches in understanding mental health. Today, the emphasis is on recognizing the complexities of mental health, and much progress has been made in dismantling the stigma surrounding it. Women's experiences are no longer reduced to hysterical episodes, but are viewed through a lens of empathy and understanding. The voices of women are increasingly acknowledged, providing them with platforms to tell their stories and share their struggles without fear of being dismissed. In exploring the historical significance of hysteria, it becomes evident how societal attitudes toward women and their health have evolved. The journey from viewing women through a lens of hysteria to acknowledging their full spectrum of experiences is a testament to progress in understanding gender and health. As society continues to move forward, it becomes increasingly important to advocate for mental health and to ensure that all individuals, regardless of gender, are treated with dignity and respect. In conclusion, the story of hysteria reflects not just a historical medical belief, but a narrative about women's autonomy and representation. The past informs the ongoing dialogue about mental health and gender, enabling a future where every person's emotional and psychological needs are recognized, validated, and addressed with the utmost care. Through education, advocacy, and compassion, we can continue to foster a more inclusive understanding of mental health that empowers everyone. In ancient times, the belief that Earth was the center of the universe, known as the Geocentric Model, shaped not only scientific thought, but also philosophy, religion, and the way people saw themselves in relation to the cosmos. This view positioned Earth as a stationary point around which the celestial bodies, the sun, moon, and stars revolved. It painted a picture of a universe that revolved around human existence, fostering a sense of importance for humanity in the grand scheme of everything. Consider the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, who was one of the main proponents of the geocentric model. He proposed that Earth was an unchanging sphere at the center of the universe, with the heavens encapsulating it. According to Aristotle, the heavenly bodies, composed of a different, more perfect substance called ether, moved in perfect circles. This circular movement was seen as the most divine form of motion. The stars were thought to be fixed to a celestial sphere, rotating around the Earth in a way that captured the imagination of people at that time. Following Aristotle, the astronomer Claudius Ptolemy further refined this geocentric perspective. His work, the Almagest, introduced the idea of epicycles to explain the complex movements of planets. He suggested that planets moved in small circles called epicycles, which themselves moved along larger circles around Earth. This model, although intricate and mathematically complex, provided the ancient world with a workable way to predict planetary positions and even eclipses. The Ptolemaic System became the authoritative framework for astronomical studies for over 1,400 years. The cultural ramifications of this belief were immense. Many societies viewed the geocentric model as more than just a scientific explanation. It reflected a worldview where humans had a central place in the universe. In Christianity, for example, the belief that Earth was the focus of the universe aligned with spiritual notions of humanity's unique role in creation. It fused science with religious ideology, making the geocentric view not only a scientific theory but a matter of faith. However, as time progressed, this view faced challenges. The work of early astronomers like Copernicus began to shift perspectives. Copernicus proposed a heliocentric model, placing the sun at the center of the universe, which ignited a profound debate. Despite the mounting evidence in favor of the heliocentric model, many continued to defend the geocentric view due to its deep-seated philosophical and religious roots. One of the most iconic challenges to the geocentric theory came from Galileo Galilei. With his advancements in telescope technology, he observed celestial phenomena, such as the phases of Venus and the moons of Jupiter. These observations provided compelling evidence against the notion that everything revolved around Earth. The implications were staggering, not only for science but also for how humans viewed themselves in the grand cosmic arrangement. This shift in understanding was not without its repercussions. The transition from a geocentric to a heliocentric worldview created conflict, not just intellectually but also socially and politically. The Church's stronghold on the explanation of the cosmos faced an upheaval, leading to intense debates. The concept that Earth was not the center of everything forced humanity to reconsider its position and significance in the universe. Reflecting on these changes, one can see how the geocentric model became a crucial stepping stone in humanity's journey to understanding the universe. It served as a foundational belief that led to critical questioning, exploration, and ultimately, a more scientific conception of the cosmos. The significance of Earth at the center of the universe was not merely an astronomical discussion, but a mirror reflecting humanity's search for meaning, purpose, and place in an ever-expanding universe. Today, while we have long moved past the idea that Earth is the center of the universe, the geocentric belief teaches us about the importance of context in our understanding of the world. It illustrates how our views can evolve, shaped by observation, inquiry, and imagination. The story of the ancient belief in a geocentric universe is a poignant reminder that the universe, with all its complexity and wonder, continues to unfold as we explore and learn, revealing truths that challenge and inspire us to look beyond the horizons of what we know. As we take a moment to reflect on the journey of humanity's understanding of the cosmos, we can appreciate the beauty of inquiry and the endless quest for knowledge. The cosmos invites us to venture forth, constantly asking questions, seeking answers, and allowing our minds to wander into the depth of the universe's mysteries. Herbalism is a fascinating field that has been utilized for thousands of years across various cultures around the globe. It represents a time-honored approach to health and wellness, focusing on the use of plants and their extracts to treat a variety of ailments. The roots of herbalism can be traced back to ancient civilizations, where different cultures discovered the healing properties of various plants through observation and experience. One of the most intriguing aspects of herbalism is the belief that nearly every ailment can be addressed with the right combination of herbs. Imagine wandering through a lush garden filled with vibrant greens and colorful flowers, each with its unique characteristics and potential benefits. For instance, consider the well-known chamomile flower, often recognized for its calming properties. People have turned to chamomile tea to soothe their nerves, aid digestion, and even promote relaxation after a long day. Then there's ginger, a humble root that packs a powerful punch. Ginger has been celebrated for its anti-inflammatory properties and is often used to alleviate nausea, reduce muscle pain, and support digestion. Its warm, spicy flavor makes it a favorite in both culinary and medicinal applications. Think about the comforting aroma of ginger tea on a chilly day. So not only does it provide health benefits, but it also offers a delightful sensory experience. Different regions have their own signature herbs, reflecting local traditions and environmental availability. For example, in traditional Chinese medicine, herbs like ginseng and goji berries are prized for their ability to boost energy and vitality. Ginseng is often referred to as an adaptogen, which means it may help the body cope with stress. People may consume it in various forms, from teas to capsules, in hopes of harnessing its rejuvenating powers. Similarly, in Ayurveda, the traditional system of medicine from India, herbs like tulsi or holy basil are revered for their extensive health benefits. This plant is often thought to promote overall wellness by supporting the immune system and reducing stress levels. Imagine incorporating such an aromatic herb into your daily routine, perhaps through fresh leaves in your morning smoothie or as a soothing herbal infusion. Herbalism shows the beauty of nature's pharmacy, but, like all fields of practice, it is not without its challenges. Many herbal remedies have been passed down through generations, based on trial and error rather than rigorous scientific testing. This means that while some herbs are widely accepted for their therapeutic effects, others may be less reliable or even pose risks when used improperly. For instance, while St. John's wort has been used traditionally to treat mild depression, it can interact with various medications, highlighting the importance of understanding individual health needs and potential side effects. Furthermore, the efficacy of many herbal remedies can vary widely depending on factors such as the plant's growing conditions, harvest time, and preparation methods. This variance speaks to the art and artistry behind herbalism. It is a blend of empirical knowledge, intuition, and respect for nature. Many herbalists spend years honing their craft, learning about the subtle interactions between different plants and the human body. They often rely on their experiences and the wisdom of those before them, creating a rich tapestry of practices that evolves over time. As interest in natural remedies continues to grow, many people are turning to herbalism as an alternative or complementary approach to conventional medicine. You might find yourself picking up a book on herbal practices, inspired to experiment with creating your own tinctures, teas, or even salves. Think of the satisfaction that comes from harvesting herbs from your garden and transforming them into something beneficial for health. In recent years, the resurgence of herbalism has sparked discussions about sustainability and ethical sourcing. As more individuals seek out herbal remedies, it is crucial to ensure that the plants are harvested responsibly and that ecosystems are preserved. An example of this is the emphasis on purchasing herbs from local growers or reputable sources that prioritize sustainable practices. As you delve into the world of herbalism, you'll discover a rich history filled with anecdotal evidence and personal stories. Many people share how specific herbs, such as peppermint, rosemary, or echinacea, have played significant roles in their lives, whether through fostering better digestion, enhancing cognitive function, or boosting immunity. These narratives showcase the powerful connection humans have with plants and the traditional knowledge that continues to be shared and celebrated. Herbalism is not merely about choosing certain plants. It is also about fostering a deeper relationship with the natural world. Every herb tells a story, carrying the wisdom of the earth and the people who have worked with it over generations. It encourages a holistic outlook on health that considers lifestyle, diet, and emotional well-being as interconnected elements that contribute to overall vitality. In a fast-paced world dominated by synthetic pharmaceuticals, herbalism offers a refreshing perspective by promoting the use of natural alternatives. It invites individuals to explore their personal health journeys with a sense of curiosity and reverence for ancient practices. Whether you are a seasoned herbalist or simply curious about the benefits of specific plants, there is always something new to learn and discover in this boundless field. Open your senses to the vibrant textures, aromas, and flavors that herbs can bring into your life. Each plant holds a unique promise, waiting to be uncovered through exploration and experimentation. As you embark on this journey, keep an open mind and heart, allowing the wisdom of nature to guide your choices, instilling a sense of harmony and balance that resonates deeply within. In the fascinating realm of biology, the concept of vital force represents an intriguing historical perspective that has long been set aside in favor of more scientific explanations. The idea of a vital force, which many early scientists and philosophers believed to essentialize life, suggested that there was a unique, immaterial essence that defined living organisms, separating them from inanimate objects. This concept can be traced back to ancient philosophical thoughts and became particularly prominent in discussions during the 18th and 19th centuries. In the days when science was still evolving, many thinkers proposed that living beings possessed a special energy that animated them. This idea found its way into various disciplines, including medicine and biology. People began to speculate that this vital force was responsible for the myriad processes associated with life, such as growth, reproduction, and metabolism. Notable figures like Aristotle posited that living organisms were infused with a, quote, soul or essence that controlled their development and behavior. As time progressed, the limitations of the vital force concept became apparent. It was difficult, if not impossible, to measure or define this force in concrete terms. Early biologists and naturalists started to question this approach, observing that many processes within living organisms could be explained through physical and chemical principles. Scientists, including figures like Louis Pasteur and Rudolf Virchow, began to provide empirical evidence that challenged the idea of an immaterial vital force. They illuminated the mechanisms of life through experimentation and observation rather than abstract theorization. The breakthrough came when a deeper understanding of the physical and chemical processes underpinning life began to emerge. The development of cell theory was pivotal, establishing that all living organisms are composed of cells, which are the fundamental units of life. This scientific revolution effectively replaced the idea of vital force with a more grounded understanding of biology based on observable phenomena. Through research, it became clear that the functions and characteristics of living organisms could be explained through biology's own principles, such as biochemistry and genetics. Consider the process of metabolism, for example. In earlier times, it might have been attributed to a mysterious force that animated life. However, through the lens of modern biology, we understand metabolism as a series of chemical reactions that transform food into energy. Enzymes, substrates, and metabolic pathways can be studied, measured, and manipulated. Scientists can now trace how nutrients are broken down, how energy is produced at the cellular level, and how different biological systems work in concert, without the need for a nebulous vital force. Additionally, the advent of genetics revolutionized our understanding of heredity and variation. The work of Gregor Mendel laid the groundwork for modern genetics, revealing that traits are inherited through specific alleles rather than through the influence of a vital force. Today, we understand that DNA encodes the information necessary for an organism's development, growth, and reproduction. This genetic information is both concrete and scientifically measurable, entirely sidelining the notion of a life-giving essence. Another key aspect that contributed to displacing the vital force concept is the study of evolution. Evolutionary theory, particularly through natural selection as posited by Charles Darwin, provided a biological framework for understanding the diversity of life on Earth. The mechanisms of adaptation and environmental interaction framed natural phenomena in a way that emphasized survival and reproduction, rather than an immaterial force-driving behavior. The development of species could be studied through fossil records, genetic comparisons, and ecological dynamics, further rooting biology in the physical world. Modern biology now encompasses a wide range of disciplines, including biochemistry, microbiology, genetics, ecology, and many others, each contributing to a more comprehensive understanding of life. Rather than relying on the abstract notion of vital force, scientists today can analyze and predict biological phenomena through established scientific methodologies. While the notion of a vital force is now regarded as outdated, it played an essential role in the evolution of biological thought. This journey from abstract notions to concrete understanding illustrates the progress of scientific inquiry and the remarkable ways in which human knowledge has expanded. By embracing the principles of evidence-based science, we have unraveled the complexities of living organisms and enriched our understanding of life itself. The concept of vital force serves as a reminder of how far we have come in our quest to understand the natural world. It highlights the importance of questioning established beliefs and encourages us to continue exploring the mysteries that biology still holds. As we move forward, the interplay of scientific discovery will undoubtedly lead us to even greater insights into the intricate web of life that surrounds us. Through observation, experimentation, and a commitment to understanding, we continue to unlock the many secrets life has to offer, leaving behind outdated ideas and forging new paths of knowledge. The story of biology is still being written, with new chapters waiting to unfold through the power of scientific exploration. Corals are often misunderstood, primarily because they share certain characteristics with plants. For many years, people classified them as plants, but this classification is misleading. To unravel this fascinating story, let's delve into the unique world of corals, their biology, and the remarkable ecosystems they create. At first glance, corals do indeed appear plant-like. They have a rooted appearance, growing in extensive colonies, often resembling colorful gardens under the sea. These formations can be quite mesmerizing, with shades of blue, orange, green, and purple coming together in beautiful patterns. However, corals are not plants. They are animals, specifically marine invertebrates belonging to the class Anthozoa. Corals are made up of tiny organisms known as polyps. Each polyp is essentially a small, soft-bodied animal that has a central mouth surrounded by tentacles. These tentacles are armed with specialized cells called kinetocytes, which contain stinging structures known as nematocysts. This is a significant indicator of their animal nature, as these stinging cells are used to capture prey and defend against predators. Corals mainly feed on zooplankton and other tiny creatures they catch with their tentacles. One of the most remarkable aspects of corals is their symbiotic relationship with a type of algae known as zooxanthellae. This relationship is sometimes what leads to the confusion with plants. The zooxanthellae live inside the coral's tissues and perform photosynthesis, converting sunlight into energy. In return, the corals provide the algae with carbon dioxide and a protected environment to thrive. This symbiosis is crucial, as it allows corals to obtain a significant portion of their energy directly from sunlight. This intricate relationship not only emphasizes their animal nature, but also highlights the beautiful complexity of marine ecosystems. Coral reefs, often referred to as the quote-quote rainforest of the sea, are home to thousands of marine species, including fish, crustaceans, and mollusks. Just as a rainforest provides shelter and nourishment to countless organisms, coral reefs create a vibrant habitat that supports biodiversity. In addition to their ecological importance, corals also play a vital role in coastal protection. They act as natural barriers against strong wave action, reducing coastal erosion and protecting shorelines from storms. The calcium carbonate structure of coral reefs provides a rigid barrier that absorbs and dissipates wave energy. Without healthy coral reefs, coastal communities would be much more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change and rising sea levels. Corals have a remarkable ability to grow and adapt. Over thousands of years, they have developed complex structures resulting from the accumulated calcium carbonate skeletons of countless generations of polyps. These structures can grow at a rate of just a few centimeters per year, creating vast underwater formations that can stretch for miles. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia, for instance, is one of the largest structures made by living organisms, and is visible even from space. Despite their resilience, coral reefs are facing unprecedented challenges due to human activities and climate change. Factors such as ocean warming, pollution, and overfishing are significantly impacting coral health. Coral bleaching, a phenomenon where corals expel their symbiotic algae under stress, is one of the most visible symptoms of these challenges. Without the vibrant zooxanthellae, the corals lose their color and turn white, leading to a decline in reef health and ecosystem stability. Conservation efforts are paramount to understanding and preserving these vital ecosystems. Scientists are actively researching coral biology and the factors influencing coral health, with hopes of developing strategies to mitigate the effects of climate change and protect these magnificent underwater cities. Marine protected areas, responsible fishing practices, and reducing carbon footprints are all crucial steps that individuals and communities can take to help safeguard coral reefs. In conclusion, the misclassification of corals as plants stems from their appearance and their relationship with photosynthetic algae. However, understanding corals as animals reveals their remarkable complexity and significance in marine ecosystems. Not only do they provide crucial habitats for marine life, but they also protect coastlines and contribute to the health of the oceans. Through ongoing research and conservation efforts, we can ensure these incredible creatures continue to thrive for generations to come. It is our responsibility to appreciate the beauty and importance of coral reefs, recognizing their true nature as vital living organisms within the vast and intricate tapestry of ocean life. Magnet therapy is a fascinating topic that delves into the intersection of alternative medicine and belief. Many people across various cultures have embraced the idea that magnets can have healing properties for the human body. Proponents of this therapy suggest that magnets can be used to alleviate pain, enhance circulation, and even improve overall health. But what lies behind this intriguing practice, and what does the scientific community have to say about it? The roots of magnet therapy can be traced back to ancient civilization. The ancient Egyptians are known to have utilized magnetic stones known as lodestones, believing that these minerals possessed healing powers. Similarly, the ancient Greeks and Romans incorporated magnets into their medical practices, holding the view that magnets could influence bodily functions and promote well-being. This historical background gives us an insight into how deeply embedded the belief in magnets is within human culture. In contemporary times, magnet therapy has taken on various forms. From magnetic bracelets and necklaces to ankle wraps and mattress pads, the market offers a plethora of products that claim to harness magnetic energy for healing purposes. Advocates argue that magnets can stimulate nerve function, reduce inflammation, and promote cellular regeneration. These claims are appealing, especially for individuals looking for natural remedies to common ailments. The science behind magnet therapy, however, is a bit murky. While magnets do interact with living organisms, the extent and nature of these interactions remain hotly debated. One common explanation for the supposed benefits is the idea that magnets can improve blood flow. Proponents argue that magnets create a magnetic field that encourages the movement of charged particles in the body, leading to enhanced circulation. However, scientific studies have found little evidence to support these claims. Research examining the effects of magnetic fields on human health has produced mixed results, and many conclusions remain inconclusive. For instance, pain relief is one of the most frequently cited benefits of magnet therapy. Some individuals swear by their magnetic bracelets or wraps, claiming they experience significant alleviation from chronic pain conditions such as arthritis or fibromyalgia. Yet, controlled studies often highlight that any perceived benefits could be attributed to the placebo effect. The mind and body are intricately connected, and the belief that a treatment will work can sometimes generate real changes in the body's experience of pain. Additionally, the medical community raises concerns regarding the lack of rigorous scientific evidence supporting the effectiveness of magnet therapy. The majority of research conducted has been either small-scale or flawed in design, leading to challenges in confirming any definitive results. The National Center for Complementary and Integrative Health, a U.S. government agency, has stated that while magnet therapy is generally considered safe, it has not found convincing scientific evidence to back the various claims being made regarding its benefits. Furthermore, skeptics suggest that the magnetic devices sold in stores often lack proper clinical testing to validate their claims. There is a significant variation in the strength of magnets used in these products, and many do not follow the regulatory standards typical of medical devices. People purchasing these items might be led to believe they are receiving a form of treatment when they are simply buying a consumer product that may not have any measurable impact on their health. In light of the skepticism surrounding magnet therapy, many consumers may wonder about the motivations behind its continued popularity. Trust in alternative therapies, as well as personal testimonials from satisfied users, can certainly contribute to the allure of magnets. People often seek alternative solutions when conventional medicine doesn't seem to provide the relief they hope for. Additionally, the search for natural and less invasive options to manage health conditions often leads individuals to explore various alternative therapies. It's also important to recognize that individual experiences can be incredibly varied. What works for one person may not work for another. This concept is integral to understanding human health, which is influenced by a multitude of factors, including genetics, lifestyle choices, and emotional well-being. Therefore, even without a strong scientific basis, the belief in the healing properties of magnets can provide comfort and hope to those seeking effective pain management strategies. In conclusion, the world of magnet therapy is a captivating blend of ancient practices and modern beliefs. While the idea of harnessing magnetic forces to bring about healing certainly captures our imagination, it is essential to approach these claims with a critical eye. The lack of scientific support should serve as a guiding principle for individuals considering magnet therapy. As with any health-related decision, consulting a healthcare professional and relying on evidence-based treatment options remains vital. Understanding the limitations and potential benefits provides a more comprehensive view that aligns curiosity with personal health choices. In the 18th century, during a time of great curiosity and exploration, many ideas about health and healing circulated among scientists, physicians, and the general public. One particularly intriguing notion was the belief in the healing properties of static electricity. This concept, while now considered obsolete, reflects a fascinating chapter in the history of medicine and human understanding of electricity. At that time, static electricity was still a relatively novel phenomenon. People were beginning to understand the nature of electricity, largely thanks to pioneering experiments conducted by figures such as Benjamin Franklin and Alessandro Volta. These early experiments often involved simple devices like Leyden jars, which stored electric charge, and the famed Franklin kite experiment, which linked lightning to electrical phenomena. As static electricity became more prominent in the scientific community, some individuals began to advocate for its medicinal uses. They believed that electrical currents could invigorate the body, balance humors, and promote healing. This belief stemmed from the understanding of electricity as a fundamental force, potentially capable of influencing health in ways that were not yet fully understood. People around this time began to view electricity as a kind of mysterious energy that could interact with the human body. There were accounts of individuals feeling invigorated after exposure to static electricity, leading to treatment practices that involved applying electric charges to various body parts. The idea captured the imagination of both practitioners and patients, leading to widespread experimentation. One common practice involved the use of devices called electrostatic machines, which were used to create static electricity through friction. These machines became popular in medical settings, where patients would come to receive electric shocks or gentle static charges purportedly to heal ailments. Practitioners believed that these electric charges could help stimulate nerves, improve circulation, and even alleviate pain. For example, an individual suffering from chronic pain might visit a practitioner who would use an electrostatic machine to deliver controlled static shocks, theorizing that this intervention would alleviate discomfort. It was thought that electricity could help restore balance to the body's energies, much like traditional methods aimed at harmonizing the body's natural rhythms. It wasn't just pain relief that drew people to static electricity. The belief extended to other conditions as well. Some claimed that electrical treatments could also help with digestive issues, respiratory ailments, and even mental health conditions. This broad application of static electricity in medicine highlights the optimistic and experimental spirit of the time, where new ideas were met with enthusiasm and curiosity. However, as with many outdated medical practices, skepticism arose. Critics began to question the efficacy of static electricity as a healing tool. Experimental methods were often haphazard, and results were not consistently reproducible. Over time, as the scientific method developed and more rigorous approaches to medical treatment emerged, the reliance on static electricity began to wane. By the 19th century, advancements in medical science and a better understanding of human anatomy and physiology shifted the focus toward more evidence-based treatments. The allure of static electricity as a healing agent faded, and it eventually fell out of favor. Yet, the historical context of this belief serves as an interesting reminder of the evolution of medical practices and the ways society seeks to understand and improve health. Today, static electricity is something most people encounter in their daily lives, whether it's a mild shock when touching a doorknob or the amusing phenomenon of hair standing on end after rubbing a balloon. However, its historical significance as a perceived healing force remains an engaging topic of exploration. In contemporary discussions about health and wellness, we often reflect on how understanding evolves over time. The 18th century belief in the healing properties of static electricity reflects a curiosity about the world and a desire to harness natural forces for the benefit of human health. While static electricity may not have the healing powers that were once imagined, the innovative spirit behind those beliefs laid groundwork for future scientific discoveries, encouraging continued inquiry into the mysteries of the human body and the natural world. This exploration into the intersection of electricity and health is a testament to our endless pursuit of knowledge. As we learn more about biology, physics, and the ways they interact, we find ourselves continuously challenged to rethink prior beliefs and embrace new understandings. The journey of static electricity from a noble healing force to an obsolete belief underscores an essential aspect of progress: the necessity of questioning, experimenting, and sometimes letting go of ideas that no longer serve us. It opens the door to new possibilities, encouraging each generation to explore, discover, and innovate in their quest for better health and well-being. In many ways, this narrative encourages us to appreciate the richness of history, where every belief, no matter how misguided it may seem today, plays a role in shaping the path toward knowledge and understanding. Each idea contributes to the broader tapestry of human experience, reminding us of our place in a continuum of exploration and discovery. So as we reflect on the past, we honor the curiosity that drives us forward into the unknown horizons of tomorrow's discoveries. Biogenesis is a scientific principle that asserts that life arises from pre-existing life rather than through spontaneous generation. This idea took root in the minds of many thinkers throughout history, facing challenges and evolving with new discoveries. In the past, before science advanced as it has done today, many believed in spontaneous generation, the notion that living organisms could emerge from non-living matter. For example, people thought that worms sprang from decaying meat, or that maggots materialized from rotting fruit. These beliefs were a reflection of the limited understanding of biology and the processes of life. The debate surrounding the origin of life has led to significant advancements in scientific methodology and understanding. One of the most pivotal figures in this discourse was Louis Pasteur, a French scientist known for his groundbreaking work in microbiology. In the 19th century, Pasteur conducted a series of experiments that effectively debunked the notion of spontaneous generation. He took flasks with nutrient-rich broth, boiled them to kill any present microorganisms, and then left some flasks open to the air while sealing others. The open flasks soon became clouded with microorganisms, while the sealed ones remained clear. Pasteur's results pointed towards the conclusion that microorganisms from the environment were responsible for the contamination, rather than life spontaneously appearing in the broth. Following Pasteur, the scientific community came to an agreement supporting the idea of biogenesis, emphasizing the need for existing life to create new life. This understanding resonated throughout various biological studies, impacting many fields including genetics, ecology, and evolutionary biology. The implications of biogenesis extend beyond simple organisms. It encompasses the entire spectrum of life, from the simplest bacteria to complex plants and animals. The foundation of biogenesis also plays into modern evolutionary theory. Charles Darwin, with his theory of natural selection, illustrated how life evolves over time from a common ancestor. Each speciation event is the result of the gradual adaptation of organisms, driven by environmental pressures. This understanding signifies that every living entity today is a product of a long lineage that traces back to simpler life forms. It's like a vast tree of life, with branches leading to diverse species that share a shared history. As research continued, scientists explored the origins of life on a molecular level, raising fascinating questions about the earliest forms of life. They examined how simple compounds could organize into complex molecules, potentially leading to the first living organisms. This exploration into the abyss of geological time has revealed how basic elements, under the right conditions, can interact to form amino acids, proteins, and eventually, cells. Understanding this transformation not only showcases the ingenuity of life's building blocks, but also reinforces the idea that life, as we know it, is a tapestry woven from the threads of the past. Additionally, the implications of biogenesis are seen across various scientific fields beyond biology. In medicine, for instance, this principle guides the understanding of disease and contagion. The recognition that bacteria and viruses come from previously living hosts influences infection control and treatment strategies. This paradigm shift has generated advancements in public health, emphasizing the importance of hygiene, vaccinations, and the responsible use of antibiotics. As intriguing as biogenesis is, it invites further exploration into the vast unknowns of life's origins. The study of extremophiles, organisms that thrive in extreme environments, suggests that life can arise under conditions previously thought to be inhospitable. From deep-sea hydrothermal vents to the icy deserts of Antarctica, the resilience of life intrigues researchers and poses questions about life's adaptability and the potential for extraterrestrial life. Considering the wonder of life on Earth, it is essential to view biogenesis through a lens of curiosity and appreciation. Each organism we encounter is part of a long legacy shaped by evolution and environmental influences. Whether it's observing a flowering plant in a garden or marveling at the intricate patterns of a butterfly, these are manifestations of complex processes rooted in the principles of biogenesis. By understanding that every complex form of life has emerged from prior life, we gain a deeper respect for the interconnected web of existence. From tiny microorganisms to soaring eagles, the delicate balance of ecosystems thrives on these connections. This perspective not only highlights the significance of every organism, but also stresses the importance of preserving our environment to ensure the continuity of life. In conclusion, the journey from spontaneous generation to biogenesis marks a monumental shift in scientific thought. It reflects a narrative of discovery and enlightenment, underscoring our understanding of life's origins and development. The reality that all living entities derive from previous life forms illuminates the continuity of existence, inviting us to cherish and protect the world around us. As you ponder these interconnected phenomena, remember that every breath, every heartbeat, echoes with the stories of countless generations that have come before us. Throughout history, humanity has been captivated by the allure of mythical creatures, beings that often blend the familiar with the extraordinary. In the ancient world, stories of these fantastic entities were not just tales told around fires, but significant parts of cultural beliefs and spiritual life. From the majestic unicorns prancing through enchanted forests to the fearsome dragons breathing fire in mountain caves, these creatures have woven intricate narratives that both entertained and taught valuable lessons. Take the unicorn, for instance. This majestic horse-like creature, adorned with a spiraling horn on its forehead, has become synonymous with purity and grace. While the unicorn is often dismissed as a figment of imagination today, many cultures once believed in its existence. Ancient texts, like those from the Greeks and Romans, describe encounters with these magnificent beings. In medieval Europe, unicorns were depicted in tapestries and heraldry, symbolizing innocence, beauty, and sacredness. They were often associated with virginity, and many believed that their horn had the power to purify water and heal diseases. The excitement of discovering a creature so ethereal sparked curiosity and wonder, showing how belief in mythical beings served to inspire people's hopes and dreams. On the other side of the spectrum, we find the dragon, a creature that has taken many forms across cultures. In some traditions, they are guardians of great wisdom and treasure, revered for their strength and intelligence. For instance, in Asia, dragons are seen as auspicious figures that embody power and good fortune, often associated with water and agricultural prosperity. The Chinese dragon is celebrated during festivals, reflecting a deep respect for its potential to bring rain and, hence, life. Conversely, in Western mythology, dragons often personify chaos and destruction, feared as beasts that hoard gold and guard ancient secrets. Documents from the Middle Ages are filled with tales of dragon slayers, knights embarking on epic quests, embodying the battle between good and evil. These vibrant stories captured the imagination of many, shaping how societies viewed bravery, heroism, and the natural world. The existence of such creatures was intertwined with the understanding of nature and the universe. People sought to explain the unexplainable, turning to mythical beasts when natural phenomena left them in awe and confusion. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and unpredictable weather were often attributed to the actions of these powerful beings. Instead of fearing the unknown, communities crafted elaborate narratives that softened the boundary between reality and fantasy. Philosophers and historians like Aristotle contributed to the fascination with these creatures, pondering whether unicorns, for instance, could actually exist based on reports from travelers and explorers. The blending of observations with imagination made it challenging to discern fact from fiction. Explorers traveling to distant lands returned with tales of strange beings, sometimes described in ways that sparked debates about their authenticity. As scientific understanding has evolved, many of these tales were relegated to the realm of fantasy, yet they still endure in our cultural consciousness, reminding us of a time when the world seemed filled with endless possibilities. Moreover, in art and literature, these legendary creatures have continued to inspire and capture hearts across generations. From J.R.R. Tolkien's beloved dragons in The Hobbit to the enchanting unicorns in countless fairy tales, mythical creatures represent the intersection of wonder and fear, beauty and terror. They remind us of the fragility of human understanding and the vast mysteries that still lie beyond the horizons of our knowledge. Museums and galleries feature artwork that brings these creatures to life, allowing contemporary viewers to engage with the legacy of imagination that they represent. While many of us may never encounter a dragon soaring across the sky or a unicorn grazing in a lush meadow, these mythical beings continue to play an essential role in our storytelling traditions. They encourage us to dream, to ponder, and to activate our imaginations in ways that the mundane world cannot. Furthermore, they have left a mark on modern culture, appearing in films, gaming, and literature, illustrating our enduring fascination with the fantastical. Even as technology and science offer explanations for the world around us, the stories of mythical creatures serve to ignite creativity. They remind us that imagination has power and can take us places our feet may never tread. So next time you hear a tale of a mystical beast, or see an illustration of one, take a moment to imagine the skies they might soar through, the lands they would inhabit, and the stories they might tell if they were real. These creatures may now exist only in our minds, yet their legacy is woven into the fabric of our culture, inspiring generations to look beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Vampire burials are a fascinating aspect of folklore and history, rooted in the deep-seated fears of communities about the unknown. Across various cultures, the belief in the existence of vampires, that is, beings who return from the dead to drain the life force from the living, has led to some intriguing burial practices aimed at preventing their resurrection. Historically, the fear of vampires wasn't limited to one region or era. It spanned centuries and continents. Archaeological evidence suggests that as far back as the Middle Ages, communities took extraordinary measures to ensure that the dead remained undisturbed and that their bodies wouldn't rise again as bloodthirsty creatures. These burial customs varied widely, reflecting local beliefs and available resources. In Eastern Europe, particularly in the regions that are now modern-day Hungary, Romania, and Serbia, vampire folklore was particularly rich. The common practice involved burying the deceased in a specific manner. Often, bodies would be placed face down in their graves, under the belief that this position made it challenging for the corpse to rise. Additionally, heavy stones were sometimes placed on top of the grave, effectively pinning the deceased into the earth. This not only served a practical purpose of deterring potential disturbances, but also represented a symbolic measure to keep malevolent spirits at bay. Another intriguing method involved the dismemberment of the body. Some cultures took the belief in vampire resurrection so seriously that they would remove limbs or even burn the body to prevent it from returning as a vampire. In some cases, vital organs were removed and interred separately, or the head was severed and placed at the feet of the corpse. This unsettling practice highlights the extreme lengths to which people would go in their efforts to deal with their fears of the supernatural. The connection between illness and vampirism also played a significant role in these burial rites. In times when diseases such as tuberculosis swept through communities, the unexpected deaths of young and healthy individuals often led to suspicions of vampire activity. Loved ones left behind would sometimes suspect that the deceased was returning to haunt the community, draining the life out of the sick or those who were struggling. In these instances, the practices turned not only into a cultural response, but also a social one, to protect the living from an unseen threat. Interestingly, historical records show that these practices sometimes led to the public exhumation of bodies. While the idea of digging up graves today seems unsettling, in the past, it was often considered necessary. People would inspect the remains to see if they showed any signs of vampirism, like abnormalities or decay that differed from what was expected in a naturally decomposing body. Strange findings, such as a body intact after months in the ground, could reinforce the local belief in the undead and prompt even more stringent precautions. Specimens from these burials have sometimes been unearthed, revealing curious details that shed light on the fears of the time. Excavations of burial sites in Eastern Europe have revealed bodies with stones in their mouths, a practice thought to prevent the deceased from feeding on the living. Other graves featured skeletal remains that showed signs of being staked through the heart, another belief aimed at making sure the individual could not rise again. These practices illustrate the intersection of fear, cultural beliefs, and the human desire to maintain control over life and death. Although most cultures have since moved away from these superstitions, the legacy of vampire burials continues to linger in modern literature, film, and television. The vampire legend has evolved into archetypes seen in stories around the world, perpetuating the fascination with the undead. Whether depicted as fearsome creatures or tragic anti-heroes in popular narratives, these figures encapsulate our lingering fears about death and what may lie beyond. Vampire burials remind us of the historical context of human behavior in the face of the unknown. These practices reveal not just the fears associated with death, but also the social bonds that form as communities grapple with loss. They show how humanity has sought to protect itself, weaving together folklore, religion, and tradition in an effort to make sense of a world ripe with uncertainty. So the next time you encounter tales of vampires, consider the historical practices that echo through the ages. Behind every legend lies a story shaped by the very human desire for safety and understanding in a world full of mystery. The complexities of vampire burials remind us that even the most captivating stories have roots in cultural practices and the ever-present quest to make peace with mortality. For many centuries, humans gazed at the sky and pondered the intricate movements of celestial bodies. One of the most enduring beliefs among ancient civilizations was the notion that the sun revolved around the earth. This idea shaped the understanding of astronomy and our place in the cosmos for over a millennium. The concept of an Earth-centered universe is known as geocentrism. It was prevalent in various cultures, from the ancient Greeks to the medieval thinkers in Europe. They observed the sun rising in the east and setting in the west, leading them to conclude that the sun, along with the stars and planets, circled around the earth each day. This perspective seemed natural because of the immediate experience of seeing these celestial bodies in motion above their heads. The philosopher Aristotle was one of the prominent figures who promoted the geocentric model. He proposed that the earth was a stationary body at the center of the universe, while the sun, moon, stars, and planets revolved around it in perfect circular orbits. This idea aligned with the philosophical and religious beliefs of the time, positioning humanity as the focal point of the cosmos. The Ptolemaic System, developed by Claudius Ptolemy in the 2nd century, further refined this geocentric theory. Ptolemy introduced complex epicycles to explain the observed retrograde motion of planets, where they seemed to move backward in their orbits. While this model was mathematically sophisticated, it still centered on an Earth-centered view of the universe. As time progressed, astronomers began to observe phenomena that challenged the traditional view. The invention of the telescope in the early 17th century played a pivotal role in shifting these long-held beliefs. Galileo Galilei, a key figure in the scientific revolution, made significant observations with his telescope. He studied the moons of Jupiter and saw that they revolved around the planet, illustrating that not everything orbited the Earth. He also observed the phases of Venus, which could only be explained if Venus orbited the Sun rather than the Earth. In contrast to these observations, the heliocentric theory proposed by Nicholas Copernicus suggested a sun-centered solar system. Copernicus argued that the Earth itself was just one of several planets that revolved around the Sun. His revolutionary ideas were initially met with resistance, as they contradicted the established geocentric view embraced by both the Church and the scientific community at the time. However, as astronomical evidence continued to mount, the heliocentric model gained traction. The transition from geocentrism to heliocentrism was gradual and fraught with controversy. Many scholars and religious leaders opposed Copernicus's ideas because they challenged the established order and the theological implications of humanity's place in the universe. The Church held a powerful influence, insisting on the geocentric model as its teachings aligned with certain biblical interpretations. Despite this, the work of later astronomers like Johannes Kepler and Sir Isaac Newton provided further support for the heliocentric view. Kepler's laws of planetary motion revealed that planets move in elliptical, not circular, orbits around the Sun. This was a significant departure from the long-standing belief in perfect circular motions. Kepler's insights, combined with Newton's formulation of the laws of gravitation, provided a cohesive framework for understanding the mechanics of the universe. Newton's principles explained why the planets followed their paths around the Sun, demonstrating that gravitational forces governed their movements. The heliocentric model had far-reaching implications for humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. As people began to appreciate the Sun's role as the center of the solar system, the perception of the universe expanded dramatically. No longer were humans at the center. We were now part of a vast and dynamic system, where the Sun was just one of billions of stars in a galaxy teeming with other worlds. This revolutionary shift not only transformed the field of astronomy, but also had profound philosophical and cultural impacts. It prompted a reevaluation of humanity's significance and sparked debates about the nature of existence, the universe, and our role within it. The transition to a heliocentric view paved the way for further discoveries, leading to the exploration of other celestial bodies and the eventual understanding of countless galaxies beyond our own. As we reflect on the journey from an Earth-centered perspective to a Sun-centered understanding of our solar system, we recognize the power of curiosity and the relentless pursuit of knowledge. The story of geocentrism versus heliocentrism is a testament to how scientific inquiry can challenge long-held beliefs, inspiring humanity to explore the mysteries of the cosmos with an open mind. Today, as we look up at the night sky filled with stars, we are reminded of the rich history of our quest for understanding. The Sun, a magnificent star, remains at the heart of our solar system, illuminating the worlds that dance around it. The heliocentric model, once a bold idea that faced skepticism, now serves as the foundation for modern astronomy and our evolving exploration of the universe. The dance of celestial bodies continues, inviting us to marvel at the wonder of the universe, forever expanding our knowledge and igniting our imagination. Once upon a time, in a world where the skies were filled with endless possibilities, there flourished an ancient myth about migratory birds, embarking on a remarkable journey. As winter approached and the days turned shorter, people would gaze at the skies and wonder where these elegant creatures disappeared. The tale took root in the hearts of many. Migratory birds, destined to traverse the vast distances of the earth, were said to sail all the way to the moon during the colder months. Imagine for a moment a crisp winter evening. The air is still, with a faint gleam from the stars dotting the dark canvas of the night sky. A gentle breeze rustles the branches, and the silhouettes of trees stand tall against the luminescent glow of the moon. This was the moment when the myth gained its magic. People believed that as the first frost touched the ground, the migrating birds would gather on the treetops, feeling the pull of something greater than themselves. In this captivating tale, the birds transformed into celestial beings as they soared higher and higher. Their strong wings carried them beyond the earthly realm, gliding up through the clouds, where they would meet the twinkling stars. The contrast of their dark feathers against the bright backdrop of the moon created an image of enchanting beauty. The moon became their sanctuary, a place where they could rest and rejuvenate before embarking on their journey once again. The journey of these birds was not merely an act of survival, but a ritual steeped in wonder. Each bird represented a thread connecting Earth to the heavens. The elders in communities told stories of how these creatures would fly through the night, guided by the silvery light of the moon, navigating among the stars as if they were weaving a tapestry of dreams across the sky. It was said that during their time on the moon, these birds shared tales of the world they left behind. The moonlight captured their stories, reflecting the vivid colors of the Earth's landscapes, from the golden deserts to the lush green forests. The cries of the birds echoed in the celestial expanse, blending with the soft whispers of the cosmos, so that those who listened closely could hear their enchanting songs. As seasons changed and the warmth of spring returned, the birds would take flight once more, descending back to the earth, filled with the moon's wisdom and stories. People eagerly awaited their return, believing that the birds would carry messages from the otherworldly land above. Their arrival signified not only the end of winter, but the promise of hope and renewal. Fields would burst into bloom, and the chirping of birds would herald the beginning of a new cycle of life. This myth about birds sailing to the moon also helped cultivate a sense of unity among people. They would gather together, sharing stories and songs, celebrating the beauty of nature and the wonder of these migratory journeys. The act of watching birds soar through the sky became a communal experience, a reminder that we are all part of a grander scheme where earth and sky dance in harmony. As time flowed, the tale of the birds and the moon became ingrained in cultures worldwide. Similar stories emerged in different communities, each with their unique twists and perspectives. Some believed that the birds were messengers of the gods, delivering messages of love and guidance. Others imagined them as guardians of the night, protecting the dreams of those who slept beneath the starlit sky. In modern times, this myth continues to inspire imagination. As we observe the magnificence of migratory birds winging their way across the continents, it is easy to see them as magnificent travelers of the cosmos. Their instinctive journeys across oceans and vast landscapes remind us of the connection between nature and the universe. They symbolize resilience, grace, and the spirit of exploration, embodying a sense of freedom that resonates deep within each of us. So next time you glance up at the night sky, take a moment to think about the migratory birds above. Picture them sailing towards the moon, enveloped in the soft glow of moonlight, exploring paths unknown, and sharing their stories among the stars. In this simple yet profound way, the myth of birds sailing to the moon continues to capture our hearts and minds, reminding us of the marvelous journeys that life has to offer. Throughout history, the concept of immortality has captivated the human imagination. Among the most intriguing quests associated with this idea is the search for the Elixir of Life, a mythical potion that is said to grant eternal youth and vitality. This quest has been a significant driving force in the practice of alchemy, an ancient philosophical and proto-scientific tradition that sought to transform base materials into noble ones, discover hidden truths about nature, and achieve spiritual enlightenment. Alchemy flourished from antiquity through the medieval period, attracting thinkers and experimenters from various cultures. Alchemists were not only concerned with material transformation, like turning lead into gold, but also with achieving inner transformation. In their pursuit, they often spoke of secret substances and legendary elixirs that could enhance life and offer profound wisdom. The Elixir of Life stands out as one of the most legendary of these substances. The origins of the Elixir of Life can be traced back to ancient texts and folklore. It often appears alongside tales of the Philosopher's Stone, a substance believed to have the ability to change base metals into gold and grant immortality. Alchemists believed that by mastering the art of alchemy, one could unlock the secrets of life and death. They sought not just physical transformation, but also the philosophical attainment of understanding the universe and the soul. Legends about the Elixir of Life often feature iconic figures. One of the most famous is the alchemist Nicolas Flamel, a historical person who lived in 14th century France. Flamel was said to have discovered the Philosopher's Stone, and myth has it that he used this stone to create the Elixir of Life, living for over 600 years before ultimately deciding to destroy the stone to prevent its power from falling into the wrong hands. His story has inspired countless tales, movies, and books, contributing to the ongoing intrigue surrounding the elixir. The quest for the Elixir of Life was also linked with spirituality and transformation. Alchemists believed that the process of creating the elixir involved not only physical materials, but also spiritual practices. It required a deep understanding of nature, the cosmos, and the self. The concept of transformation was central to alchemy, the change from base to noble, both in matter and in spirit. For many alchemists, the pursuit of the elixir was as much about the journey toward enlightenment and self-discovery as it was about obtaining eternal life. In the East, similar concepts exist. In ancient Chinese alchemical traditions, the pursuit of longevity and immortality also featured prominently. Taoist alchemists sought to create pills of immortality that could bestow eternal life. They combined various elements, herbs, and minerals while engaging in practices like meditation, breathing exercises, and dietary restrictions. The search for longevity in these traditions integrated philosophy, medicine, and spirituality, offering a holistic approach to the concept of life extension. The fascination with the elixir of life continues to influence modern culture, inspiring countless works of fiction, art, and media. From fantasy novels to movies and even video games, the notion of a magical potion that can grant immortality resonates with many people. These stories often explore the implications and consequences of living forever, posing philosophical questions about the nature of existence, meaning, and the human experience. The allure of immortality raises dilemmas. Would one cherish life more deeply if it were endless? Would eternity begin to feel like a burden? In addition to literary inspiration, the elixir of life has found its way into the world of science. Today, researchers are exploring the mechanisms of aging and the potential to extend human lifespan through advancements in genetics, regenerative medicine, and cellular biology. Scientists are investigating substances that enhance health and vitality, blurring the lines between the ancient search for a mythical elixir and the modern quest for longevity. The elixir of life represents a desire that transcends cultural boundaries and eras. It embodies humanity's longing for permanence in an ephemeral world. Whether through mythology, alchemical traditions, or modern scientific endeavors, the quest for this elusive potion reflects our deep-seated aspirations to understand life and existence, to surpass the ordinary and explore the extraordinary. The stories of the elixir remind us not only of the mysteries of life, but also of the journey towards knowledge and the profound connections that bind us to one another and the cosmos. Ultimately, the elixir of life symbolizes hope, discovery, and the unending human desire to seek out the extraordinary in the world around us. It invites us to ponder the nature of existence, our own journeys through life, and the possibilities that lie ahead. As we continue to explore both the outer world and our inner selves, the quest for such an elixir remains a vibrant part of our collective imagination, encouraging creativity, exploration, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge. In the heart of the medieval era, a time steeped in wonder and superstition, people looked around them and saw a world imbued with life, even within the stones, streams, and skies. Nature was not simply a backdrop to their existence. It was alive with energies, spirits, and elemental beings that governed every aspect of the physical realm. From the whisper of the wind to the roar of the ocean, each natural phenomenon was believed to be influenced by these mystical forces. In this age, the elements of earth, air, fire, and water were not merely the building blocks of life, but were thought to be governed by beings known as elementals. Each elemental was seen as a personification of its respective element, possessing unique qualities and traits. This belief fostered a deep connection between humanity and the natural world, stirring the imaginations of all who looked toward the mountains, rivers, and forests. Consider, for instance, the elemental associated with earth, often referred to as the gnome. Gnomes were imagined as small, sturdy creatures, often depicted as having earthy skin tinted with the hues of soil and rock. They were believed to dwell underground, guarding treasures, minerals, and the secrets of the earth. Stories abounded of gnomes guiding lost travelers to hidden paths, or helping farmers by enriching the soil, thus fostering a sense of gratitude toward the land. To the medieval person, each mound of dirt or hidden stone held the potential for gnome-like wisdom and secret knowledge, just waiting to be discovered. Then came the sylphs, the ethereal beings of the air. They were characterized by their delicacy and grace, said to be invisible yet ever-present, moving with the breeze as they filled the skies. Medieval folklore suggested that sylphs could control the winds, their laughter echoing in gusts that rustled through the trees. People would speak of them with reverence, believing that these airy spirits could bring thunderous storms or caress the world with gentle zephyrs, depending on their whims. Even the simplest of breezes felt charged with their energy, giving people a sense of connection to the vast, open sky. Fire, the element of passion and transformation, was presided over by salamanders. These fiery spirits were often depicted as brilliant, flickering beings that danced through flames. They represented both destruction and renewal, embodying the dual nature of fire itself. The warmth of a hearth was not just a comfort but a living entity that provided protection and inspiration. Tales passed down through generations spoke of salamanders encouraging brave warriors in battle, their flames igniting courage in the hearts of those who relied on them. To many, every campfire flickering in the night was a reminder of the pulse of life that burned within the spirit of the salamander. Finally, the spirits of water, known as undines, were believed to dwell in rivers, lakes, and oceans. These mystical beings were often described as beautiful and elusive, appearing in legends as protectors of the waters. Where a rushing stream could bring forth life through the gentle touch of water, an undine was thought to nurture all that thrived within its depths. Songbirds danced above babbling brooks, celebrating the vital energy that flowed through them, while fishermen spoke of the undine's gift, helping them to catch fish by leading them gently through the water's embrace. The presence of undines reinforced the notion that water was a source of nourishment not just for the body, but also for the soul. These elemental beings created a rich tapestry of belief that intertwined with the daily lives of medieval people. Fields were sown with the hope that the gnomes would bless them with bountiful harvests, while prayers were whispered to the sylphs for gentle weather. Sundry festivals were held to honor the salamanders, creating an annual rhythm that brought communities together around the warmth and light of fire. And bodies of water were recognized as sacred spaces, where people sought the blessings of undines, holding ceremonies by riverbanks and lake shores as an offering of gratitude. In this worldview, danger also lurked in the complexities of nature. Folk tales warned of gnomes who, when angered, could create earthquakes, or sylphs who might summon storms if disrespected. Fire could consume in a flash with the fury of a salamander turned vengeful, while undines could drown the careless who disregarded their domain. These narratives served to remind the community of the balance that existed between humanity and the elemental forces that surrounded them. This belief system fostered an intimate relationship with nature. It cultivated an understanding that the world was not merely a collection of resources to be exploited, but a vibrant landscape filled with consciousness and spirit. People often looked up at the clouds and gazed at the stars with an inkling of recognition. They saw a reflection of their fears, hopes, and dreams, wrapped within the elemental energies they believed were guiding their lives. As the world changed and perceptions evolved, the idea of elementals gradually faded from the everyday consciousness. However, echoes of these beliefs can still be found in modern tales, art, and festivals that celebrate nature. Remnants of the time when humanity walked hand in hand with the spirits of the earth exist in our connections to the landscape, urging us to remember the mysteries and magic that once colored our interactions with the world. It is a reminder that the dance of nature, with all its beauty and chaos, carries with it the spirit of ages past, enriched by the energies that continue to shape our lives today. Each rustling leaf, crashing wave, and flickering flame carries with it a story, waiting patiently for someone to listen. Andreas Vesalius, a name synonymous with the birth of modern anatomy, was a pioneering figure in the 16th century. His groundbreaking work, De Humani Corporis Fabrica, revolutionized the field of medicine, moving it away from ancient traditions and superstitions toward observation and empirical evidence. However, even Vesalius made mistakes during his journey, and acknowledging these anatomical errors provides insight into the evolution of medical knowledge during and after the Renaissance. Vesalius's work was a culmination of meticulous dissections of human bodies, a practice that had been largely neglected since the days of Galen, an influential physician from the 2nd century. Galen's anatomical teachings were based primarily on animal dissections, particularly of monkeys and pigs. As Vesalius began to dissect human cadavers, he discovered discrepancies between Galen's theories and real human anatomy. His observations led him to assert that the human body did not mirror the anatomical features of these animals as closely as previously believed. One of the most notable misconceptions that Vesalius confronted was the structure of the heart. Galen had described the heart as having a small opening in the septum that allowed blood to flow between the two ventricles. However, Vesalius's detailed dissections reveal that this opening did not exist in a healthy human heart. While he corrected this error, he did not fully comprehend the mechanics of blood circulation, which would be later clarified by William Harvey. This illustrates the progressive nature of scientific inquiry during this period. Vesalius's work laid the foundation for future discoveries, even as he left some questions unanswered. Another area where Vesalius's observations yielded inaccuracies was in the anatomy of the female body. In his anatomical texts, Vesalius often relied on descriptions from male-focused perspectives. For example, his diagrams depicted the ovaries and uterus based on conjectures rather than actual dissections, which were rarer for females at that time. This limitation not only caused misunderstandings about female anatomy, but also contributed to a larger pattern of marginalizing women's health in medical science. Subsequent anatomists would later correct these oversights, emphasizing the necessity of thorough and inclusive anatomical research. Vesalius also made errors in detailing the human skeleton. He described certain bones that were misidentified or inaccurately presented based on previous texts. For instance, while Vesalius identified the patella, or kneecap, he incorrectly described how some bones connected or their number. While these errors might seem trivial today, they represented a significant shift away from unexamined acceptance of older texts toward the importance of careful observation. Vesalius brought forward a new method of studying anatomy that relied on hands-on dissection, drawing human bodies from life instead of merely relying on textual accounts. This was revolutionary because it encouraged the kind of critical thinking and questioning that laid the groundwork for future anatomists. It marked a significant departure from the reliance on authority, a practice that had dominated medicine for centuries. The influence of Vesalius extended beyond his immediate errors. His insistence on direct observation and empirical evidence spurred a transformation in medical education. He encouraged students to question established doctrines and undertake their own dissections. This changed the trajectory of medical study and practice, ultimately ushering in an era characterized by curiosity and skepticism. It is also essential to recognize how Vesalius's work exemplified the broader context of the Renaissance, a time when art, science, and humanism flourished. Artists like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo explored anatomy through lifelike depiction in their works, suggesting a deep interest in human form that contributed to the medical discourse of the period. This interdisciplinary connection fortified Vesalius's arguments and provided a rich backdrop for the visual understanding of anatomy. Despite his achievements, the mistakes Vesalius made remind us of the evolving nature of knowledge. The medical community built upon his foundational work. Surgeons and anatomists in the centuries after Vesalius began refining anatomical perspectives, gradually improving accuracy by incorporating both human dissections and continued dialogue in the field. We also see that even monumental figures like Vesalius are part of a continuum of exploration and discovery. Each era provides a lesson that propels the field forward. By engaging with this history, we recognize that the pursuit of knowledge is not linear or perfect. It is filled with revision and refinement. As we reflect on Vesalius and the misconceptions highlighted in his work, we appreciate how far the field of medicine has come. Each misstep played a crucial role in shaping the conversation about anatomy. The continued efforts of subsequent scholars and physicians underscore a collective journey towards a more accurate understanding of the human body. In this way, the story of Vesalius serves as a vital chapter in the history of medicine, marked by both remarkable insights and important lessons that continue to resonate today. In the annals of scientific understanding, the concept of spontaneous generation looms large, particularly when it comes to how living organisms, such as insects and smaller creatures, were once thought to emerge from inanimate matter. This theory proposed that life could arise spontaneously from non-living materials, such as decaying organic substances, mud, or even old rags. Imagine a world where you leave a piece of food on the kitchen counter, and the next day you find it swarming with flies, which seem to appear out of nowhere. This was the essence of spontaneous generation. Various cultures held on to this idea for centuries, dating back to ancient civilizations. The Greeks were among the first to document this concept. Aristotle, a famed philosopher, even suggested that certain animals like mice and frogs could spring forth from substances such as soil or decaying matter. This theory fit neatly into the worldview of the time, where the understanding of life processes was limited and primarily based on observation and speculation. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, and the idea still held sway, It was a common belief that maggots formed spontaneously from rotting meat. People would observe how flies congregated around decomposing food, and concluded that the flies originated from the meat itself. This assumption went unchallenged for many years, fostering a deeply embedded notion about the origins of life. However, as the scientific method gained traction in the 17th century, a series of experiments began to unravel this notion of spontaneous generation. One of the most significant figures was Francesco Redi, an Italian physician. In 1668, he conducted a groundbreaking experiment that involved placing rotting meat in jars of different conditions. Some jars were left open, while others were sealed or covered with gauze. The open jars attracted flies, which subsequently laid eggs on the meat, leading to maggot formation, while no maggots appeared in the sealed jars. His findings challenged the belief that life could spontaneously arise from decaying meat. Despite Redi's work, the notion of spontaneous generation persisted, especially regarding microorganisms. It was not until the late 19th century that another great mind, Louis Pasteur, would extend this challenge further. He is famous for his contributions to microbiology, particularly in relation to fermentation and pasteurization, but his experiments directly addressed the issue of spontaneous generation as well. Pasteur designed a clever experiment using swan neck flasks. He boiled broth to sterilize it, and then placed it in flasks that had long, curved necks. These necks allowed air to enter the flask, but trapped dust and particles that could carry microbes. The broth remained clear, devoid of life, as long as it was protected from contaminants. This was compelling evidence that microorganisms did not spontaneously generate. Instead, they came from existing life forms in the environment. These experiments sparked a revolution in biology, ultimately leading to the acceptance of the germ theory of disease and changing our understanding of how life propagates. The idea that all living organisms arise from other living organisms, biogenesis, became a cornerstone of modern biology. This principle is fundamental to our understanding of everything, from the development of ecosystems to medical practices and food safety. While spontaneous generation has been thoroughly disproven, its history is a fascinating illustration of humanity's evolving understanding of life. It shows how science is a dynamic process, constantly questioning, testing, and refining ideas based on observation and evidence. As we explore the world around us, it's essential to remember that our understanding continues to grow, and what seems certain today may evolve into something even more profound tomorrow. Often when we look into nature, we find a rich tapestry of life, all interconnected and interdependent. Each creature plays a role, from the smallest microorganisms thriving in soil to the insects buzzing around us. These connections speak to the intricate web of life that our ancestors may not have fully understood. By debunking spontaneous generation, we gained an appreciation for the complexity and interrelatedness of living ecosystems. Additionally, while spontaneous generation may have been a misunderstanding of its time, it bore witness to humanity's curiosity, a trait that continuously drives innovation and discovery. As we ponder life's origins and the mechanisms behind its propagation, we can embrace the lessons learned from history, cherishing the continuous quest for knowledge that defines our journey. In summary, the once popular idea of spontaneous generation has been laid to rest through empirical evidence and scientific inquiry. The journey from believing that insects and tiny creatures could just appear from lifeless matter to understanding their complex life cycles reveals much about the nature of science itself. It embodies a spirit of inquiry, skepticism, and the relentless pursuit of truth, urging us to look beyond the surface, question what we see, and seek deeper understanding in all aspects of life. Through this lens, the world transforms from a realm of mystery into one of wonder, illuminating the connections that bind all living things together, reminding us of the beauty and complexity that life truly embodies.